Welcome back to Live at the Range on day one of the 152nd Open Championship. It's windy, it's rainy, it hasn't been easy for the 158 players in the field so far today. Who can handle the elements links golf throws at you? We shall see. Welcome back, live at the range. It is the afternoon of day one. Pete, the weather's cleared up a little bit. It's stopped raining, which is just brilliant news, isn't it? It makes it really tough around this Open Championship to walk around as well, but it's just a bit easier for spectators, slightly easier for players. But what about the wind, Pete?
This is tough.
Yeah.
This is tough. I think Alex Noren at the moment, 2 under par, is leading, and to be honest today, that is a really, really good score. Literally every single one of these players, when they've come out onto the range in the Open, they've all had exactly the same look. Slight frown, look up at the sky, a little bit of a wince, because they know how hard it's going to be.
They certainly do. And just looking at some of the scores here, there have been quite a few. There have been 5 7s and an 8 out on the course already today.
Yeah.
Let's check that leaderboard. And as you said, at the top, Alex Noren at 2 under par with Nikolai Højgaard 2 under, playing in his 4th Open Championship. There's Rosie. Great to see Rosie on that decent score. He'll be delighted to get into the clubhouse, won't he, on that score?
Oh, honestly, that's fantastic today. That is such a good day's work because it is so hard. I mean, you were looking maybe a few days ago at that being a good score, but maybe 5 6 under being more acceptable. Now, all of a sudden, the Open brings this test into play where the R&A set it up fantastically well, and then they just let the elements have their way, and today they are causing a bit of pain.
Unfortunately, Justin Thomas has dropped down a little bit. He's 1 under. He was just on that previous page. 6 and a 5 on 12 and 13, dropping 3 strokes. They're going to be tricky holes, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, 12-13 today, so with the wind where it switched, their landing points will have completely changed, and the club selections off the tee are going to be completely changed as well. Whereas they were going to be hitting an iron off 12, now they're going to have to hit a driver onto one of the tightest, narrowest fairways on the course. We'll
speak more about that in just a moment. Matt Wallace, level par. He did get to 4 under. He's now on level, a 7 on the 9th. Rich Beam and I spoke about that earlier. It's a tough hole. And then again, 13, that drop shot. He's through 15. Further down, Bob McIntyre, the winner of the Scottish Open. They're tightly clustered as we expect early days.
Yeah, he's been playing really well. He struck the ball great. He's just missed a few putts that you normally expect him to hole. So he's actually playing really well. Ewan Ferguson as well.
Yeah. I just saw Ewan actually before he teed off, gave us a wave, and he'll be getting a lot of home support. I mean, it's absolutely bursting at the seams with spectators.
It is, and like you said, now the rain stopped a little bit, I think everyone's going to be delighted.
Yes,
because it is hard just being stuck there.
But as you say, really, really tough conditions for the players. I'm just going to try and put that there without it getting wet with the scores on my phone. Do join the conversation, hashtag the Open Range. We want your questions. We want to know what you're thinking about this Open Championship here at Royal Troon, the 10th staging of the event here. The 152nd, my goodness, the years go by so quickly. I just bumped in actually to Tim Henman and Brian O'Driscoll, who walked the course this morning. They're absolutely drenched. They loved every second of it, but they just said that front 9, with the wind, was super tough.
Yeah, I mean, it's completely changed. I mean, I can show you, if you want, I can show you the 12th hole and just show how much that, can I?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll hold your mic. So, I'm always your assistant, Pete. You've got loads of fans. Pete's got loads of fans in the audience. They've all been shouting your name.
So we know how tough 11 is. Now, it has been playing in this direction or this direction with the wind, but now it's completely switched. So it's coming from the south to the north. 11th, if you can believe, is slightly easier. But when you switch over to 12, and this is what's going to be causing so much of a headache, this ridge here at 244, so they have been hitting irons, pitching it around the top of this and then running out. Now all of a sudden they've got to hit a driver to where the fairway pitches in and the gorse comes in as well. So all of a sudden the 12thers it wasn't never an easy hole, but it's turned into something that is just an iron off a tee to a driver and then a long iron into a tiny green. So I think 12 by the end of today is probably going to be the second or the third hardest hole.
Really, yeah.
Honestly,
yeah.
it's amazing how quickly it can change.
Ooh, just getting blown away there.
And imagine having that over a 3-iron to a 220-yard pin hanging over a bunker.
Oh gosh, it's so tough. I just walked down the 17th and you've given me goosebumps of utter fear. Obviously we've got the afternoon players, but I'm just saying the 17th, it looked brutal as I walked past. So tough in these conditions. The last tee time is just gone, 4:30 this afternoon. To keep your patience, to keep your attention. Who did we speak to? Was it Liam Nolan? He's out later on today, I think at about 4 o'clock. He said actually he's quite happy with that because he's going to have a bit of a rest, sleep in, but then he's in the gym. It's still really, really late to be able to keep your composure.
It is. One of the good things about going off late is potentially the wind will die, but also you know the expectation. So if you're going out last and then all of a sudden people out on the course are shooting really good scores, that makes you a little bit nervous because you already feel like you're falling behind.
Yeah.
Like the later starters are going to be watching this and thinking, you know what, if I can just grind it out, if I can keep it together, again, I'm not going to lose any ground on these leading players. So I think if you can be around level to 3 over today, that's absolutely fine. It's so tough.
Yeah. Well, Tiger is teeing off at 2:37, so he's going to be on the range very soon. It will be Tiger Watch. He's had so many following him in the last few days, but we're all fascinated. We want to see how he does in the final major.
Honestly, I'm genuinely worried about him.
You're nervous,
today.
aren't you?
It's just not like he needs it to be warm. Like we talk about
his body as well, what he's been through.
Because that's the thing, we talk about his leg and like how he's recovering and how he's struggling to walk, but his back needs the warm weather, and it is cold today.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a real struggle. I'm a bit nervous to see it, to be honest.
Do you know what? I need the warm weather as well. Can we get out to George? He's by the clubhouse. Ooh, George.
Hello guys, yes, I've made it to the clubhouse, a great part of the course, a busy part of the course now, so we've been here, there and everywhere, but finally we have scores coming in. So this is the practice green that the players will traditionally come to just before they pop onto the first tee, and in the background the grandstand of the 18th, and a few players right now, Francesco Molinari and Justin Rose, have just completed their round alongside Jasper Stubbs. So a nice cheer came from the grandstand there, which means one of them has binned a nice putt to end the day. But look here, we've got Jordan Spieth, champion golfer of the year, and then we've got Louis Oosthuizen, champion golfer of the year. So 2 claret jugs on the putting green right now alongside Jordan Smith as well. But from here, I'm not sure if you can pick that up. The recorder's tent is just in the background there. So players, how handy is that? Straight off 18. Oh, this wind is picking up, guys. This wind is really picking up. So recorders over there, and then they will get requests from the media. So what we're going to do for you this afternoon is we are going to try and get a few interviews from people fresh off the course, because we are yet to see or hear about the conditions. I want to hear it from the horse's mouth, as they say. So here's all your primary TV outlets, which we've seen earlier in the week. So we're going to go try and jump our way in there and steal some action. Jordan Spieth, he's not far from teeing off, 3:10. So he's got a bit of time to prepare. He's putting the absolute house down. He knows that if he putts well, he plays well. Simple as that. So we'll be right back with you. Hopefully we're going to find some golfers who can give us a bit more of an insight as to how tough or how easy it is out there. But judging from the scores, it's not easy.
Yeah, thank you, George. It does not look easy out there. This is the view of the driving range, not nearly as busy, but we've already got 32 games out on the course. Game 33, that is Henrik Stenson, Rasmus Højgaard and Jakob Skov Olesen, the British amateur champion. They are at 12:42. I am joined by Tim Barter. Tim, welcome.
Thank you, Simon. I'm very much looking forward to this. Haven't seen you all week, so we've just had a little catch-up and looking forward to watching some guys blast some balls on that range.
Yeah, we have seen plenty of balls. Got so much technology to kind of build it in. You can see driving range very much now a right to left wind. Adds quite a lot of complexity, I think, to the golf course now. The Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday practice sessions probably not as valuable didn't learn too much about the course compared to conditions now, Tim.
Absolutely. I mean, the wind has switched completely. So the course they practiced on, and they sort of honed their course management skills and said, OK, I'm going to hit this club off that tee and this club off this tee, and I'm going to be aggressive here and defensive there. That's all gone out the window, and the golf course is completely different. So it's a challenge for these guys. But, you know, it's something they're used to doing. They're all players who are playing 20-odd tournaments a year, and these conditions change all the time. So...
yeah, it was interesting, Tim. We were given this bit of data earlier in the day. It was a study from HSBC, one of our Steel Strand sponsors, that golf is the most unpredictable individual sport, and that the Open is the most unpredictable of all golf's majors.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. It's a great little bit of insight, but it doesn't surprise me because obviously the weather at the Open can change in a heartbeat. The golf course can change in a heartbeat. Sometimes you get the right side of the draw and the wrong side of the draw. You know, we saw that last time here at Troon. Henrik Stenson and Phil Mickelson on the right side of the score, 17 under and 20 under par respectively. And then suddenly, you know, this year you're looking at potentially, again, a really hard test, but very, very different for these guys.
So, Jason Day, done a lot of swing work, trying to get a little bit more hip rotation, not so rigid in those hips. It was almost like he kept his hips totally still and kind of swung his upper body against it, kind of winding such a tight elastic band, Tim, and the elastic band broke.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, the bad back obviously has caused him to go to Chris Como. I think in early part of 2020, he went to Chris Como and basically said, can you help me build a golf swing to take strain off my back? Because currently I'm not able to play anything like to the level I previously achieved, world #1, major champion, etc., etc. But the injuries obviously caused him to not be able to play at all. Well, he dropped down out of the top 100 in the world at one stage. Went to Chris Como, and they've built a technique now which is showing great improvement in terms of his results. He's coming back to his best again.
Yeah,
So
he's got grit. You would have thought he had a game. He's got creativity. He's got visualization. He is a shot maker. You would have thought he'd be one of the guys in a mix at an Open.
yeah, I think historically he's played what? I think he's played 12 Opens before. Had one really good finish. I think last year was a good finish for him. So. Yeah, he's got all the tools. You would have thought all the ball flights necessary, the short game necessary as well, but hasn't really worked for him until last year. Who's to know what's going to happen with him this year? Seemed to be struggling a little bit when we chatted to him earlier in the week. It seemed that he wasn't quite on his game at the time and he was maybe looking for something.
Yeah, it is interesting. You know, you've been out on the PGA Tour so much, seen all of the golf out there. You know, this is very different than a Masters, isn't it? The test at the Masters is nothing like the test at the Open.
No, completely and utterly different. Obviously, the Masters, same course every year, so they get to know it, they get to understand its strategy. Yes, occasionally you'll get different weather conditions, but they know the examination at the Masters is going to be a certain type of strength is going to be needed, whereas this week, as I say, the varying weather conditions, it's a completely different animal. Suddenly you've got to keep the ball down instead of launching it high into the air. Suddenly you've got to reduce the amount of spin on the ball at times to try and stop it stalling into a headwind, etc., etc. So it's just a completely different examination and one that the players have to adapt to. And most of them enjoy that challenge. They enjoy going out there and saying, okay, this is, some of them call it the purest form of the game. It's the way the game should be played, where it is unpredictable and you have to adapt and you have to have all the shots in your armory.
So on the right side of your screen, our top tracer data, catching the shots hit by Jason Day in his warm-up. So Jason Day getting ready to go. That's probably just a little 9-iron. Phil Mickelson with his back to us, obviously. Let's see there, Ricky Fowler. So, Ricky Fowler. I always felt he had the sort of game to be a good wizard round a links course.
Well, he won the Scottish Open over at Gullen a few years back in wonderful style, so he has won in Scotland on a links course, and he absolutely loves the challenge. Obviously going to Oklahoma State University, very windy there, so he knows how to play in the breeze and really enjoys the different shot requirements that you have to have at an Open Championship. So he won the Scottish Open, finished second in an Open to Rory in 2014. So he has had good results, just never quite got over the line. I think he's had 3 top 5s in total, so he really does relish playing links golf. Obviously had that win a year ago now at the Rocket Mortgage, was a sort of resurgence for him because he'd really lost his way. Returned to Butch Harmon, his swing coach, and they did some great work together. And he went out and won the Rockage Mortgage, as I say, a year ago, last July. But that's his last top 10. He hasn't had a top 10 since that win. And we all thought that would be the catalyst to really drive him forwards and see Ricky get right back to the top of the game. Hasn't quite happened for him, but Butch will get it right in the end. There's no doubt about that. Huge respect for Butch Harmon as a coach.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? So there it is, game 37, 126. Fowler, Ben Arn, and Jason Day. That's a good group. Some lovely games in the afternoon here. Stenson, Højgaard and Olesen have just headed out. Got Darren Clark out with JT Poston, Dean Beamster, he's a good player. Mickelson, Hughes Luton and Dustin Johnson. That's at 2:04. So a sprinkling of talent all the way through to entice the gallery out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the joys of the Open is everyone tees off the first hole, so everyone faces that challenge of going out with one wind direction and coming back on another wind direction. So it's a nice equitable playing field for them to be out there on, particularly as today the forecast is for it to stay pretty consistent throughout the day. It doesn't look as though the wind and rain are going to get too much more severe this afternoon. So it's a nice level playing field for the guys to go out and establish who's best.
Stabilised a lot. The sort of Ricky Fowler had quite a sort of like an outside takeaway, then the club went very much inside and under, and then he worked the ball with his hands. He's kind of neutralised that a little bit. His swing's matured. You know, by his own admission, he just, I mean, he's almost said, listen, guys, I've had the yips with my putting. I've really struggled with that. Yeah,
he changed the putter, obviously, and that turned his fortunes around there. And Butch has done a great job with his swing. As you say, it was a very sort of unorthodox backswing where it went one direction, then the other, to an extreme, to the point where it was laid off at the top of the swing, pointing the shaft of the club, pointing a long way left. And that made him have to manipulate to hit certain shots. And Butch said, OK, let's get this club more online at the top of the backswing. So they've worked really hard on his takeaway, first of all, and the way he sets the club in order to get that club more online at the top of the backswing. And it has, you know, really worked for him in the sense that it's improved that technique. And at Rocket Mortgage, I thought I'd never seen him swing it better than that a year ago, but not quite sure why the results haven't quite come since, but they haven't done so far.
So super interesting. Those two guys in your screen, left side, Ricky Fowler, right side in the white top. There are the shots. So Ricky Fowler in the blue, Jason Day in the yellow. You can see just Jason Day a little bit further through his bag than Ricky Fowler, but fascinating to see all the different flights. Our amazing top tracer technology has really brought the driving range to life. This is what the players are looking at. They're looking at the top tracer on the big monitor. They're looking at their own devices, measuring the data, checking it against a sort of a bull mark, just seeing how much, you know, if you're in America and it's 85 to 90 degrees and you're here, it's different. The ball carries much, much differently. Tim, and you're just trying to gauge that field to sort of see what the adjustment's going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys will be out there in this temperature. The ball will go less far. Obviously, the breeze off the right here may be slightly hurting. I can't quite see that second, but they'll obviously be on their launch monitors saying, OK, how far is my 7-iron going in these conditions compared to what it would go in America in 90 degrees of heat? It'll be significantly shorter. And they have to recalibrate that when they go out on the golf course and say, OK, well, normal 7-iron goes, let's say, you know, 185 yards. Today, it's only going to go 165, 170. So they have to adapt again. And that's one of the great challenges of the Open, is you have to be able to adapt to the examination you're set on a particular day.
Yeah, it's interesting, you know, golf has sort of, at least US golf has particularly gone to sort of counting numbers in straight lines. And the Open Championship is all about the artist, who can work the ball around the conditions. There are no straight lines at an Open Championship around a golf course. There is no perfect way. You could have three guys all make a par in completely different ways. Not any of them hit the same club.
No, exactly. I mean, different strategies off the tee. You'll see that an awful lot during this week, that some players will be taking an iron to play to the wider part of the fairway and leave themselves a lengthier second shot in. Other guys, Bryson DeChambeau, the obvious example, will get the driver out and say, right, I'm going to try and bully this hole and hit the driver down there, and if he hits it in the rough, you know, gouge it onto the green. But at an Open Championship, with the greens quite firm, if they hide those pins away, the bomb and gouge mentality doesn't nearly always work as well as it might do, because you just can't get at those pins from the rough, whereas in America you can.
Can you overpower Royal Troon?
No, not in my opinion. Interesting stat, actually. The last player in the top 10 of driving distance to win an Open on the week was Rory McIlroy 10 years ago. So the average is 36th. The winners, the average is 36th in driving distance over the last decade. The average at a US Open is 11th. So it just shows driving distance is nothing like as big a factor as it is at a US Open.
Brian Harman, an example of that?
Oh, absolutely. As I walked past Brian Harman the other day, and I kind of forgotten how small he is. I mean, he's literally 5'6", 5'7", 9 stone dripping wet, and yet he bullied this field to death last year and won it in fantastic style, but he wasn't dealt the cards physically, clearly.
So, Ricky Fowler, working through his game. He's a big fan favourite. I've got to tell you, Ricky Fowler had a big day yesterday, and he spent, I'd say, 40 minutes after he had finished at the back of the driving range in the fan signing area. There was not one fan who had stayed there who did not go, who left without a Ricky Fowler signature. Every single one. You know, you don't see that, but that's an important part of being a golf ambassador.
Absolutely, and he is arguably the best we've got in the game. He is absolutely magnificent with the fans. He's magnificent with the media. There's nothing I've ever asked him to do that he's turned down. I've asked him a couple of times to do things that stretched our relationship a little bit, and never one time did he come back and say, do you know what, Barty, I don't fancy that. He will do anything I ask him to do if it's for the good of the game and encouraging people to play the game and give entertainment. He is just a quality human being, one of my very favourites on the planet. He's a lovely, lovely guy.
Yeah, and he's had rises and falls, and you'd never know it. There've been a lot of, you know, very consistent the way he's dealt with everybody, no matter if he's been on the way up or on the way down. It gives a huge credit to him, as you say. So we're looking at this 3-ball, Ricky Fowler, Jason Day, and Ben Arndt. There he is, won the US Amateur at Pinehurst, number 2, won the BMW Championship. That's our figurehead championship on the DP World Tour. That's at Wentworth, which is an amazing test of golf as well, inland, but nevertheless iconic and amazing. A precise test. You have to be disciplined as well round there, Tim.
You certainly do, yeah. It's a tricky test. The wind swirls amongst the pine trees there, and you really, you know, at times can need your patience and your resilience, because you'll hit a shot, and in the middle of that shot the wind will switch to a different direction. You'll be punished for a good shot at times. So temperamentally it's a strong test, and there's lots of a real fantastic mix of different holes at Wentworth, long and short, doglegs right, doglegs left. So you really have to have a pretty rounded game to win there, and Ben An did in great style.
Eric Cole there in the middle of Jason Day and Ricky Fowler. An incredible rise. He was absolutely the boss of the mini tours, and very late in his career found his way onto the PGA Tour and has forged a pretty important career. So Alex Noren, the man I'm sure who will have hit the most golf balls on the driving range. Look at this, Tim Barter. I ask you to explain the quite unique, over-exaggerated practice swing that we have seen for 15 years by Alex Noren.
Isn't it amazing? But actually, if anything, it's reduced in its severity. I mean, you talk about exaggeration, and often players do that. They say, okay, I have a tendency which I hate, which is to get the club dropping behind me on the way down, which causes me to have to use my hands to square the club face. I hate that. So they rehearse the opposite to that. They rehearse almost the club coming down on an outside path and holding the club face exaggeratedly open as they go through, exiting left of the ball very dramatically. And Alex used to do that to such an extreme. It looked like he was contorting his body to an incredible extent. So it's reduced down on what it used to be. Works with Matt Belsham, who's a sort of a lot of his work with Mac O'Grady, a genius of a player and also a coach. So Matt's turned into a wonderful coach and has helped Alex to reach the high standards he has. And he was somebody earlier in the week, somebody said, have you got an outside bet? And I said, well, 2. Langasque for me is dangerous because he's 200 or 300 to 1, but this guy I think is seriously dangerous, and so he's proved today with a round of 69, which is currently leading the way.
Yeah, very tidy. Be disappointed with his 6th hole. You know, just interesting to see how different guys owned the different conditions, put different scores together. Alex keeping it relaxed. Matt Belsham, as you say, really complete technical coach, very, very good base of knowledge.
Interesting though that they've parted company, I think 2 or 3 or 4 times. Literally they've split up and then they come back together again, and Alex has gone off in search of something else and then come back to Matt, and you kind of hope that he sticks with Matt now, because he's had, I think, most of his success with Matt Belsham coaching him, and it clearly works for him extremely well. So sometimes players can be tempted down other different avenues looking for something else, and in the end they realise actually what I was doing was pretty good, and if I just honed it and worked on that. You must have experienced that an awful lot in your coaching career.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's interesting. So here's a great view. This is from the big grandstand behind the driving range. The driving range has been packed since really Sunday afternoon, Tim. It always thins out a little bit. You know, we really have sort of just 4 groups going out and out. So Dustin Johnson in the middle of your screen. And here is where it stands. Justin Thomas is out in front. He is in the house with a 68. He has set the target. Let's see what the afternoon guys can do against him.
On the tee. She's staring this one down, and for good reason. Look at this. Just delightfully done. She's on top of the world. Going directly at the hole. Tell you what, go on. Oh, get in there.
There's something about the AIG Women's Open.
Oh, my goodness.
There it is. There are the flags moving briskly as the wind has got up. We are day 1 of the 152nd Open at Royal Troon, and we are underway. Justin Thomas is in the house, 3 under par. What a great round. Some good people behind him. Alex Noren, Nikolai Højgaard, Justin Rose, Chris Kirk, Russell Henley, Mav McNeely, Sam Hutsby, all at -2. So, scoring, Tim, what's it sort of say about the conditions? There's a lot of teeth at Royal Troon.
That is blooming difficult, isn't it? It really is. I mean, I think we were expecting the scoring to be tough, because that back 9 into the wind off the left, which was what they played it in practice, is just brutal. So if that wind is the prevailing wind on the day, then you expect the players to make some birdies going out downwind and then struggle coming back into the left to right wind. Today it's switched around the other way, so we kind of thought, oh, maybe the scoring will be better because the back 9 isn't quite as brutal, but yet 68 is the best score we've seen on a day when, yes, it's blowing 15 miles an hour, but it's not a brutal wind by any stretch of the imagination. So it just shows how difficult this golf course is.
Ooh, yo, one-handed helicopter finish by DJ. A swing and a miss. Dustin Johnson not really found much form really coming into this, but nevertheless a huge talent.
Oh, an amazing talent. A double major champion. I was thinking the other day, actually, somebody mentioned it to me, that he could well be a Grand Slam winner, in the sense that he's won the Masters and he won the US Open. He got disqualified from the USPGA for grounding his club in what he didn't think was a bunker when he was heading into a playoff, so he could have won that one. And he led the Open, I think, with about 5 holes to go when Darren won, and hit it out of bounds off the 14th tee. So he is literally a couple of shots away from being a Grand Slam winner. And when you think only 5 men in the history of the game have done that, it is the holy grail, and he is so close to having done it.
Yeah, it just goes to show you just the amazing talent. I mean, you know, a real sportsman who, you know, who's playing golf. He looks like he could play American football. He's an absolute unit, isn't he?
Yeah, he can dunk a basketball with ease. He is just an athlete. He really is. And it's evidence in his golf swing. Obviously, we know he's got the strong left-hand grip. He's got the bowed wrist at the top of the backswing, which gets the club face into what we call a closed position, looking up towards the sky. And then he rotates his body really hard in order to hit this stock shot, which is a little fade from left to right. Yeah, and you have to be athletic to do that, and he is the ultimate athlete. And when he's got it going, you know, he just hits that little fade all day long. He hates to see the ball go left. Talked a lot to his coach, Claude Harmon, about that. Anytime the ball goes left, DJ's not going to be in a happy mood. So they really work all the time on making sure that he's got that little fade and it doesn't turn into the pull that will go down the left edge of the fairway and potentially into the nonsense, whereas he's aiming down the left edge of the fairway and just trying to feed it into the middle.
Can you win an Open with only one ball flight? Could you get round there and sort of like never draw it?
I think you could on certain courses and in certain wind conditions. It depends how strong that wind's blowing. For a left to right player, if that wind does turn on the back nine into out of the left, that's going to really, really challenge them. So, you know, it's a wonderful talent to have, to be able to move the ball the other way and, you know, sort of try and negate that wind to some extent. So left to right, or right to left. It's nice to have the option, but also it's nice to know that it's never going left. I mean, Nick Faldo talks about, you know, just wanting to know that he could aim down the left edge of the fairway and it was never going to go in the left-hand rough or bunkers. It was always going to either go straight and be in the left edge of the fairway, fade a little and be in the middle, fade a bit too much and be on the right. So there's a lot to be said for a one-dimensional game, but at an Open, when the wind starts to blow strongly, it can be a challenge.
Yeah, Morikawa was a fader. He was amazing at Royal St George's. Phil Mickelson, he is an amazing shot maker. He ran very close. He pushed Stenson all the way, just kept making birdies, kept getting Stenson to react, and he won his major. Well, he's Open at Muirfield. Incredible victory. Darren Clarke there. He's a great shot maker. Now on the Champions Tour.
Yeah, Darren, actually, I've spent a lot of time with, coached him occasionally when his own coach, Pete Cowen, wasn't on site. He'd gone home for the weekend and Darren was struggling. He'd asked me to go and have a look, and lucky enough to win a couple of times in that scenario, which was very nice. But to watch him hit a driver, a low, boring, stinging driver, is absolutely a joy. No one does it better. He can hit a driver full bore, 8 feet off the ground. It's just incredible to watch. So incredibly talented golfer, ball striker, and particularly in terms of creating flights that work in the wind. Obviously, growing up in Northern Ireland on sort of links courses over there where it blew a healthy wind, he learned to play in these sort of conditions. So an absolute joy to watch Darren do his stuff at an Open Championship.
Yeah, Open champion, a senior Open champion. It's got a nice ring to it for Darren Clarke, hasn't it?
Yes, yes, indeed, yeah. Won the Senior Open last year. Relatively few guys have won both an Open Championship and a Senior Open, so he's added that string to his bow.
Phil Mickelson, what he did at Kiowa at the age of 50.
50. On
50.
the nuts, yeah.
Remarkable.
Well, the oldest major champion in history. And yeah, it was remarkable because, you know, it's a big golf course, Whistling Straits, and he went there and came out on top at the age of 50. It just shows the quality of the man. I mean, obviously, you know, so many wins on the PGA Tour, 6 major championships. And I think possibly he would consider his win at the Open to be his greatest achievement because he had to adapt his game to such a degree, because his game suits the US Open, the US PGA. It suits the Masters, the high ball flight and the ability to chip and putt as well as he does around the greens. But an Open, he really had to work very, very hard indeed with his coach at the time, Butch Harmon, to actually get the ball flights that he needed to play at an Open Championship. And I think he considers that to be his greatest ever achievement.
Well, it's interesting because Butch Harmon told us that that was the one major he thought Phil Mickelson would never win because he didn't have the ability to flight the ball down and wasn't patient enough to take what the course gave him. He was too much of a gambler, too much of a pusher against the odds.
Yeah, and also a couple of interesting things with Phil. I remember being in a bar, strangely enough, Simon. I don't go in bars very often, as you know, but I did.
That is astonishing.
I know, but I was in a bar and I was listening to a conversation which involved lots of different people, including Bones, who caddied for Phil Mickelson for 1,000 years. And somebody was saying, you know, Bones, if Phil Mickelson didn't take the stupid decisions he does to go for everything, he would have won way more tournaments. And Bones literally leapt to his feet and defended him and said, no, not at all. The reason he's won as many tournaments as he is because he takes those shots on, he takes those risks. He knows it isn't going to work all the time. He knows it's going to backfire on him from time to time. But he's prepared to take that risk, and he's won many, many golf tournaments because of being brave enough to take that really incredibly risky shot on at the right time.
Yeah, playing to win. Playing to win. Tiger Woods played to win. Phil Mickelson played to win, and able to accept the losses. That's another part of being able to play to win. You have to be able to forgive yourself.
Absolutely. I mean, there's the wonderful piece on social media at the moment, isn't there? Roger Federer, the legendary tennis player, basically saying, you know, yes, I won 80% of my matches, but I only won 56% of the points that I played in those matches. Therefore, one of the skills that an athlete has to have is to be able to put a disappointment behind them. So he only won, as I say, 56% of his points in his wonderful tennis career. So he said 44% of the time I'm losing the point, and I have to put that behind me and move on. And golfers do the same thing. Even the very best golfers ever in terms of their winning record, you know, 10% is exceptional. So they're losing 90% of the time, and they have to be able to go home and put that behind them and move on to the next championship.
Yeah, you need resilience, I would say. You've got to be quite bulletproof to be a professional golfer.
Phil working with Andrew Getson there, who's been with for a number of years now. Interesting with Phil Mickelson, he's won 3 of the Grand Slam. The one he hasn't won is the US Open. He's finished runner-up 6 times. So essentially, he's the nearest guy to anyone who's not won a Grand Slam. There's only 5, as I say, who have won it. He's the next guy. And I asked him in an interview once how differently he'd feel about his incredible career if he'd won the US Open and completed the Grand Slam. And he said completely differently. He said, I think I've had a great career, but if I'd won that and joined that elite company of 5 guys only who've won the Grand Slam, I would consider myself a completely different animal.
But there must be something where, oh, Hughes Luton, in the Olympics, out the Olympics, in the Olympics, out the Olympics. Don't know exactly where that all sits. There you go, throw the club. Out with Dustin Johnson and Phil Mickelson. Imagine, I mean, there must be a case for Ernie Els, David Duval, Vijay Singh, Phil, all looking at what careers they could have had if you erase one name, a Mr. T. Woods, from their... Imagine playing against that era. Tiger just swept the table.
Yeah, 82 wins on the PGA Tour. So how many of those might they have won if Tiger wasn't about? Obviously, the 15 major championships, 14 of which were pretty much in Phil's prime. So, you know, you were battling a guy who was superhuman and was able to do things that nobody else could do. So, you know, obviously Phil beat him from time to time when Tiger wasn't perhaps quite on his game, or Phil was absolutely at the peak of his powers. But, yeah, you do wonder what career these guys could have had if Tiger hadn't existed.
Joost Luiten, one of the top Dutch players. DJ, let's have a look at DJ. Look at this. He's got a great walk, Dustin Johnson, like a gunslinger's walk. He's got some swag.
He certainly has. He certainly has. Very laid back. His brother Austin there is caddy. Very laid back individual. Good company though. Good company. Good sense of humour. Good fun to be around. And I say, to watch him and his athleticism when he swings a golf club is an absolute joy. Even as he moves into his 40s, he's still an incredible athlete. Just watch how this body unwinds and rotates through impact, which he has to do because that club face, as I say, is shut, looking up at the sky at the top of the backswing. So if he used his hands, he would definitely see the ball going left and moving further left. So he has to use his body to defend against that.
Yeah, Dustin Johnson is just getting started, and Justin Rose has finished, and he managed to find some time with George Harper Jr.
Well, look who it is, Justin Rose. What a day. It must feel so satisfying to be a couple under the card after round 1 at the Open.
It is, yeah. That was obviously a fun, uneventful day. It's never uneventful, though, is it? I mean, but bogey-free day was a fantastic way to start. Yeah, got out there, obviously 7:41 tee time. Once you're up and about, you know, it's nice to kind of get your week started early. And, you know, yeah, kind of clicked in and got onto the front foot well today. I felt like I was kind of hunting the birdies, and felt like I left a lot out there, if I'm honest. It's one of those rounds that you kind of shoot 69, you're sort of tied for the lead, but you're looking around going, damn, I feel like I'm like 3 or 4 worse than I could or should be. But anyway, shows that Troon holds its own, you know.
Well, you can't complain about 11 straight pars at an Open Championship either. What a run, but obviously wanting a few more. But.
Yeah, for sure, and I had my chances, but obviously, you know that this golf course does change its character. As soon as you make the turn, everything changes. You know, you've got comfortable playing one way, and then the wind shifts completely the other way, and you've got to kind of, figure out, even with your swing, like you're holding it into the right to left wind, and suddenly now you've got to make sure you're covering and releasing it to kind of not lose the ball right coming in. So, yeah, that's what I like about this golf course is as soon as you get comfortable out there, it kind of flips it on you. So, yeah, it's good.
Nice. And just for those at home that are watching on TV, how would you describe the conditions? Because the wind's different today. Yeah. How do you summarise that briefly for us?
Yeah, sort of pumping out the south, but in a way where I still think the golf is in control. It's probably about a 12 to 15 mile an hour breeze. If you hit a good shot, you're going to be rewarded still. I think I think it's perfect elements right now where it's tough, but good golf is bang on rewarded, yeah.
And we chatted before the tournament, obviously coming through final qualifying, there's a bit of romance there, and to step up and do some round one magic always helps too.
That's it, this is the third round of the Open for me this year, so, it's obviously it started, a couple of weeks ago, but, yeah, nice to keep the momentum going, and, yeah, it'd be nice to keep playing well and make that qualifying count, yeah.
Nice, I'm sure you will. Well done, thanks, Justin. Mate. Good to see you up there.
Bud. Thank you.
Yeah, great from Justin Rose, and he has arrived. Prepare for my arrival.
I get a buzz just looking at him get his clubs out of the car. I mean, it's just incredible, the aura around this guy. I've been really, really fortunate over the last 32 years of working for Sky to interview him a lot of times, and there's a shiver goes up my spine every time I do. He just is so charismatic, so, as I say, iconic, that I consider it a great privilege to have watched his career unfold and watched the incredible things that he's done. Obviously, my hero growing up was Jack Nicklaus and the 18 majors, and then you see Tiger come along and do what he's done, and some of what he's done has just been almost unbelievable to watch. I was there at the 2008 US Open when he won with a broken leg. And, people say to me, it wasn't really broken. I went out and watched him play. He played with Robert Carlson, I know you used to coach. And on the second tee, I was stood alongside the tee and I could hear the grinding of the bones against each other. And I thought, he's not finishing this hole. He can't, because his leg has literally just snapped, it sounded like. And he not only went on to finish that round, finished 72 holes, he then played an 18-hole playoff and beat Rocco Mediate. It was the most incredible thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen in golf. Would you say intimidating is a fair word? Did he intimidate his opponents?
Absolutely, just his aura. I remember Nick Doherty played with him in the US Open, our colleague on Sky, and he said he stood on the first tee and Tiger just sort of looked at him, and he said there's just a coldness in his eyes. And he wasn't being unfriendly, he was just in competitive mindset, he was in his zone. But he said the look was kind of, wow, that is quite something.
Yeah, there was a difference, wasn't there? Tiger arrived, maybe not today, but Tiger normally arrived in his pomp at a major, and I think he expected at the end of the week he would win the tournament. Maybe 4 other guys hoped they would win, and that was a massive difference. Psychologically, he arrived with 5 ahead of everyone else. So there it is, the bird's eye view of the driving range. Harrington is there working away. Dustin Johnson just getting ready to get out on the golf course. JT Poston. So the golf course is taking a lot of prisoners. Justin Thomas is 3 under, but Rory McIlroy is 2 over, and he's just hit it into the railway on the 11th.
Delighted to be joined on the range by triple jumper, world record triple jumper holder. Is that a title? Jonathan Edwards.
I think it is.
For the last 29 years.
I'll take it.
My goodness, Olympic gold medalist, two-time world champion, European champion, indoor champion. Is there anything you've not won?
Not in athletics.
No.
There's lots I haven't won in golf.
Okay,
though.
fine. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But to hold a world record for 29 years,
Yes.
that is incredible. We were just saying some Americans have come close, some Cubans. But how long is the triple jump with the record you hold?
So the record was 80 metres 29. I did it in the World Championships in Gothenburg in 1995. And in fact, I broke it twice on that day. I did it in the first round. I jumped 18.16, and then 20 minutes later, I jumped 18.29. And then, of course, I thought it felt so easy.
Gosh.
I thought I would break it, but I never got close again. And nobody else has really got that close since.
What was it on that day?
It was the whole season. I
Yeah.
jumped brilliantly the whole season. I just found the rhythm, the strength, coordination, all of that just came together. It was
Yeah.
magical, and I never quite managed to jump like that again.
It's incredible, isn't it? It's a bit like other sports with golfers having a season of brilliance and then the next season can be really tough. It's what happens.
I mean, I actually relate it to playing golf, and I
Yeah.
say to people, I said, when you hit a drive perfectly, you can suddenly get 20 or 30 yards because of that coordination for your effort and the timing. I said it was a bit like that in that season
Yeah.
for the triple jump. Everything just worked together, and I remember all my competitors looking at me and thinking, God, how can Edwards jump that far?
How can he do
How
it?
can he do it?
Oh, that's brilliant.
So yes.
Oh, and I know you love your golf. And
Yes.
tell us exactly why you are here.
So I'm here for two reasons.
Okay.
First of all, I'm an RNA development ambassador, particularly with golf and health, and the RNA has done lots of research about the importance of and the benefits of playing golf for health, which is really remarkable. When I first started playing, I didn't think golf was particularly good for me or for my health, but actually the stats show it's completely the opposite.
Yeah, you live 5 years longer as well, don't you, if you play
Yes,
golf?
5 years longer. And also in Fife, they've got this pilot where they're doing social prescription, so the doctors are prescribing golf for health for certain people.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's really quite a big deal.
So how do we benefit health-wise through golf?
Well, in terms of your cardiovascular fitness, and I mean, I wear one of these watches which tells me how many steps I'm doing, what's happening with my heart, and actually the benefit is quite noticeable. But I think one of the big things is mental health. I mean, socially, I'm on, I don't know, 6 or 7 WhatsApp groups
Yes,
with different
same.
people. We were, arranging golf trips away, and everybody keeps an eye out for everybody as well. It's not just a case of we'll meet you on the tee at 10 o'clock on a Monday. If something's gone on in somebody's lives, everybody's interested. So
Yeah.
there's a real social sort of cohesion to it, which I think is
100%.
really, really helpful. And I'm not sure, and I was having this conversation with some pals last night, I don't think there's another sport in the world like golf for that, because you can play. I mean, I can play, my handicap's 2, and I can play with somebody who's off 25, and we can have an absolutely fantastic game. And what other sport
We were
could you
talking
do
about that.
that?
Actually, I was working at Wimbledon last week, and we were talking about how you can't play tennis against somebody who's far better than you, or if they're not as good, it's not going to be a great game. But golf allows everyone to play with everyone, and also the community aspect. Ian Finnis, Tommy Fleetwood's caddy, had open heart surgery 3 months ago. The reception from him as he came on the range, the hugs. It's a real close-knit community. So you're here for that reason, for golf and health, and also for
I'm volunteering in score control. So all of the groups have walking scorers who are volunteers as well. So they've got the little PDAs, which actually aren't that easy to operate, and they're following all the groups and marking all their scores, but not just their scores, where the ball lands, penalty shots, and of course then it measures how far they go, which is what populates the Open app when you go on and you can see how players played a hole.
So useful.
So I sit in a cabin, and if anything goes slightly wrong with that, or maybe their PDA goes down, I get a supervisor out to see
it's
them.
you.
So I'm there, and also the manual
saw the
scoreboards
problems.
on the 18th, which are an iconic part of the Open Championship. So we've got 2 cameras, 18 right and 18 left, so we can see what's going on, and then we change what goes into the leaderboard, and if they've got a 3 the wrong way round, or they've spelled something wrong, we sort of point it out. So I mean, it's lovely to be here to see the golf, but it's lovely to be part of the organisation, be behind the scenes,
and actually vital, because you're helping in so many different ways. But you yourself love your golf. Your handicap is
2.
Fantastic. When did you start playing?
When I retired from athletics,
Yeah.
so 37, there's 2 things I decided to do when I finished athletics. One was to start to play golf, and the other was to ski with my family.
And you're doing the skiing as well?
Yeah, that's kind of I snowboarded, because both of my boys wanted to learn to snowboard, so I learned to snowboard.
It's really hard.
It's really hard, and especially when you get a bit older and your knees aren't as good.
Yes, really hard. But do your family play golf at all?
Both of my boys play golf.
Yeah.
My elder boy, Sam, went to St Andrews University.
And you're a member there?
I'm a member there. I was just elected to membership just this past March.
Fantastic.
So that's a great privilege.
Well, we're available for selection to come and play any time.
I'll take you to lunch.
Thanks, Jonathan.
I'll take you to lunch. We'll go and play the Old. That'd be good.
Amazing. Great. So really good to have you here and hear about your story. And also world record holder 29 years ago, the triple jump. That's fantastic. Enjoy it. Where are you off to now?
I'm back on the shift.
You're going back to your office?
Back on the office.
He's working hard.
I am.
Jonathan, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks,
back to comms.
Fantastic story. Yeah, so interesting, isn't it? All sorts of different people from all sorts of different sports, cricketers, soccer players, athletic, a whole lot. They all end up, because they're so competitive, they can't do their sport because they're too old, playing golf.
Absolutely. You can play golf till you're 1,000, so that's good. So they can go on forever and ever exploiting that competitive nature they have and getting out there and trying to beat their pals, and what great fun they have.
The effervescence of golf. Speaking of effervescence, how about that? Padraig Harrington in the house. What an amazing competitor.
Oh, goodness gracious me. Have I ever met anyone more enthusiastic about this game than Padraig Harrington, other than you, possibly? He is unbelievable, and he cannot walk past a ball on the range without hitting it. If he's walking off the range after a 6-hour practice session and there's a ball lying by the exit, he will hit it. And he freely admits that he can't resist hitting it.
He's great, isn't he?
I heard a great story recently about his second Open Championship win, which is in 2008 at Birkdale. It was on the Caddy podcast. There's a new Paddy podcast that's just come out, and it's brilliant, by the way, so by all means log on and have a look at it. I think it's called 19th Hole or something like that. And Ian Poulter's caddy, Terry Mundy, was telling a brilliant story that he said Poulter had a putt on the 18th green, the final green, 72nd green at the Open, 15 feet from the hole, called across Terry Mundy, and Terry thought, you're calling me in to read a putt that potentially could win the Open when you haven't called me in all day. And he said, so I'm walking across there bemoaning my luck, thinking if he misses this putt, he's going to say my read was the wrong one, it cost me the Open. And actually, when he got there, Poulter said, I don't want you to read the putt, I just want to ask you a question. He said, when you were a kid on the practice green, did you think this putt to win the Open? And he's on the 72nd green of the Open with a chance to win. And Terry Mundy said, well, of course I did. We all did. And he said, I've got that putt now. Isn't it exciting? So Poulter then holed the putt, thought potentially he'd won the Open. Harrington was still on the course, if you remember, and he made an amazing eagle at the 17th, hitting a 5-wood to very, very close range. The nasty bit of the story from Terry Mundy, when he saw Ronan, Padraig caddy, a couple of weeks later, he said, Ronan, I thought we'd won the Open and you nicked us from us with that eagle at 17, so congratulations, well done. And Ronan said, I think I'm going to make you cross. And he said, why? He said, we were playing it as a 3-shotter. We hit 5-wood off the tee because we had no intention of going for the green in 2. It hit a downslope or a sprinkler and it went 50 yards further up the fairway than it was supposed to go. Suddenly the green was in range. We hit 5-wood, made eagle, won the Open. Ouch.
And that is possibly why HSBC earlier gave us a study that has shown that golf is the most unpredictable individual sport and that the Open is the most unpredictable of all golf's majors. And it is a mad game, isn't it?
Completely bonkers. So you stood on that tee thinking, I'm just going to try and hit 5-wood wedge, make a birdie, try and tie Poulter in the clubhouse, hits the downslope, shoots forward, reaches the green, makes an eagle, wins the Open. Amazing.
Yeah, I remember Poulter. I remember sitting with Fowler. Must have been doing something with Fowler that week, because Fowler says if he makes that putt, he's going to be in my team at the in the Ryder Cup. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Things you remember. So Peter Cowen, he remembers a lot. He is in the black, no surprise there. And he has been supporting, wow, so many different players, but so many champions. Peter Cowen, if there was a Hall of Fame for coaches, he would be at the top of that pyramid. Just an amazing man. Similar to Harrington, if you can make a swing, he'll watch it.
Oh,
and he can watch longer than you can hit.
Yes. For the last decade, he's been telling me, I'm going to retire, Bart, I'm going to retire. And I said, no, you're not. And he's still here, and he'll still be here in another 10 years' time.
Yeah.
He just loves it, and he's a brilliant coach. Quite a technically minded guy. Not for everybody, but I'll tell you what, he's taught me so much about the golf swing, and I'm a massive fan.
He's been a great friend to me, I've got to say. So, Hideki Matsuyama, who has won the Masters and who would love to win the Open, and there is no reason why not. I mean, one of the things that's interesting is the highest, I would think, with Ross Fisher, the highest hitting golfer, his ball flight, his apex of anyone. Is that a huge adjustment once you get into the crosswinds of today?
Well, it has to be, doesn't it? I mean, you've really got to get that ball flight under control, or that's just going to be blown completely off course. And with this golf course having gorse bushes and horribly deep bunkers that are almost penalty shots, you cannot afford to lose control of your ball to that extent, so he's going to have to keep it down. Interesting looking at him there. It looks to me as though the pause at the top of the backswing is getting a little longer again. It was very pronounced, then it went down to almost nothing, and it looks like it's just getting a little longer again.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? It was a drill that he did, sort of like he used to have a lot of flash speed in his transition. Someone gave him a drill. I think it was actually one of Butch Harmon's assistants. I don't know if it was lost in translation or not, but the drill became the swing. And I agree with you, he's got sort of like a full Hideki and like a semi-Hideki. There are two different rhythms, aren't there? There's a really deliberate full, and then there's a semi, which is a suggestion of a pause. And then he goes, that's got to be in his mind, don't you think?
Yeah, I think when he won the Masters, the pause was down to almost nothing. I mean, there was a backswing and a downswing, but there wasn't such a pronounced pause. What about these two bars on the ground then? Presumably the red one behind is about angle of attack and getting the club possibly up a little quicker in the backswing. It's just something there to try and encourage him to strike down on the ball perhaps a little bit better. You know, if it was a ball position line, it would be the other side of the alignment stick, wouldn't it? So it's not just there for ball position, it must be there for angle of attack.
You would think it's for him to make sure he doesn't kind of stay too long on that right side. That's kind of what his coach said is his mistake, is that he gets to the top and then the shift is not enough. So the hands kind of go past the hips, which is a really bad combination. So what he's trying to do is, I imagine, push a bit of weight or shift a bit of pressure forward, Tim, into that left side to get the angle of attack, to maybe get a little bit more compression. It must be a strange feeling for him, you know, against his nature, to be hitting sort of stingers and half-flighted shots.
Yeah, but also if you watch him make another swing there in a second, you'll see him rehearsing the takeaway, and it looks like he's picking it up a little bit, so he might have been dragging it back a little bit too low in his takeaway, and hence that stick is there again to stop him. He'll clip that stick if he takes it back too low. So if you just watch this waggle when he sets up to it, it's quite, we look for a one-piece takeaway where the left shoulder, the left arm and the club all work as a unit, but look at him, he's setting that club up quite steeply, isn't he? The waggle is quite pronouncedly coming up.
Maybe trying not to have so much drift off into that right side, maybe then getting stuck back there.
So over the top of it better, yeah.
Hideki working on a drill. So for amateurs at home who think that tour players never have any technical thoughts, we can both guarantee you that that is completely not true. So Hideki, that doesn't look good. He has had a sore back. That looked like a twinge.
Yes, he has. He's just stretching out his hamstrings there and trying to get some mobility. So maybe there's a slight issue there for him. One of the great moments of the last few years was when he won the Masters and his caddy went to the 18th pin and bowed in the direction of the 18th tee, paying respect to the golf course at the Masters. Thank you for allowing us to challenge you. Thank you for allowing us this opportunity to win an iconic tournament. It was an iconic moment.
Yeah, it's great. It's so important. Japan, such a hub of golf. Need them to have really, really some top talent showcase their tours, showcase their golfing culture. Been great golfing friends for so many years. Hideki, very proud. And his caddy, the respect, Shintoism, amazing culture. Great to have those guys in the field. Does Hideki have the magic to add an Open to his Masters? Working down the line. There's Wyndham Clark's bag. The gallery are back. I wonder who they've all come to look for. Someone must be arriving, someone big must be arriving fairly soon, because the entire gallery has just arrived on the range. Brooks Koepka could be one.
And a certain TW will be the other.
Ah, you suspected TW fans have arrived?
I think they're packing that grandstand slightly early to make sure they get a spot to watch the great Tiger hit balls.
Very wise. There's some great waterproof kit if you get a chance to go in the merchandise tent. I have got 3 yellow umbrellas.
I'm expecting one of those for Christmas, because I heard you say you've bought them for your friends, and I'm thinking, well, one of those has got to be for me.
If you would like an umbrella, Tim, I will be very happy to go and get you one. I shall leave it in here later on. There, if you can't join us, you have to come and scan that code on the bottom left of your screen. That will take you to the online shop. That's the official merchandise of the Open Championship. And if you don't have a yellow umbrella, you're not a part of the gang.
5-time major champion, Brooks Koepka, doing his thing on the range. 4 wins on the Live Tour, so the most successful player in terms of wins on that particular tour. So,
and major pedigree, there's something about a major that just gets Brooks a little bit more tuned in than anything else, Tim.
Yeah, there really is, and he's talked about it quite openly. He said, you know, with the greatest of respect, when he played on the PGA Tour, the PGA Tour tournaments, yes, I like to win them, but they're not the be-all and end-all. I want to win majors. That's where all my attention is focused, to win major championships. And he's won 5 at this relatively young age, so he is a beast when it comes to these. He just has a temperament and a patience and a resilience that stands him in great stead in Open Championships and other majors. So,
Tiger about to come through the range now.
Incredibly talented individuals, powerful hit of the ball. Sometimes the putter can be a little bit bulky.
Guess who's back? There you go. Maybe a bit of chipping.
Far from ideal conditions, Simon, for him and his injured body.
Backs.
Goodness, it's not ideal for him today.
No, he's going to be very sensitive. So Tiger has been doing a bit of putting. Now he is going back behind the Sky Open Zone to do a bit of short game. But everybody knows it. Still has the massive respect of his fellow competitors. Not in form, really. But no one would like to stand on the 55th hole, the first day, the first hole of the last day in the last group, and say, oh, hi, are you Tiger Woods? We're playing together today. No one, not even Rahm wants that.
I'm not sure about that. I think they like the idea of going up against him. Obviously, at this stage in his life, he's not quite as fearsome as he once was. So I think they'd quite enjoy the opportunity to go up against him. But certainly, historically, you knew he was not going away. You knew, you know, the first 14 majors he won from the lead. So if he was in the lead, the odds were against you beating him, until Wai Yang did at the PGA in America. So he was, and still is, an iconic champion, and somebody that you never say never with. People are starting to write him off and say, no, Tiger Woods is gone. He's never going to win another PGA Tour event, let alone another major. I would never write that man off. He has achieved such a lot despite the adversities he's faced. So he is not human in that respect, able to achieve things that others simply can't.
No, I've never really seen any evidence to make me think that he is human. Here we go, Brooks Koepka. Was working hard late last night. Bryson DeChambeau, I think, was last to leave the range, but Brooks was very, very close to that, with Pete Cowen on hand, just going through a few final moves. Claude Harmon also eyes on for
yeah,
Brooks
the last
Koepka.
I heard, Claude Harmon was coaching him long game and Pete Cowen short, but I'm not sure if they do mix it up, and occasionally you'll take Pete's advice on the long game as well. I don't know.
I think Pete coaches him for everything under 300 yards. Well, okay. No. Let's see. So we're out on the range. This is the chipping area now. Looks as though that is the back of Patrick Cantlay. Looks as though that is Alex Noren and Matt Belsham, who have finished. Amazing, but the magical hands, the imagination, the creativity. Such an injured body, such amazing, for the fitness that he had. He was fitter than anyone else, and he's been more injured than anyone else. There's such a weird combination to say that, isn't it?
But do you think those two things are related? Do you think that the amount of work he's done in the gym and the amount of strain he's put his body under have caused some of the injuries? I don't know.
Well, I think too much running. I mean, I remember we came off a flight, and I can't remember where we were going. No, we were flying into China for Champions, HSBC Champions, actually. And we had a long flight. I think I'd come from the States. He was on that same flight. I was with Poulter. We went just because it was such a long flight. We went for a little walk on one of the running machines in the gym before we went to have some tea. He was already in there. He was sprinting like you can't believe, as fast as the thing would go, up a slope, covered in sweat. And I mean, you just think, you know what? We've just come off a 15-hour flight, and the punishment he put himself through, it's a very good thing. Did he thrash his body to death? Maybe he did.
Yes, I'm not sure, but it's been sad, really, that his body hasn't allowed him to achieve what he could have achieved. Because if you think about how early he'd won 14 majors, he was headed towards 20 plus.
Yeah.
And then suddenly didn't win one for 11 years, partly through, you know, the injury or the bulk of injuries with the back and the surgeries and the knees, and
kept changing his swing. He changed. I mean, it's like, you know, if I took you and I said, okay, Barty, I'm going to teach you to walk in a completely different way, you'd injure yourself. If I did that 4 times, you'd definitely injure yourself. You would be injured. It'd be so against your nature.
Yeah. It's a complete mystery to me why he left Butch Harmon. It seemed to be working pretty darn well to me, but he went to Hank Haney and then on to Sean Foley, and so he has had a multitude of coaches down the year and won majors with a multitude of different swings, so such is his talent.
Tiger will soon be on the driving range, getting ready for his first round. We wish him well. And now we will go and find George Hopper Jr.
Matt Wallace. It's a bit of a cliche, but we hear about roller coaster of a round. That pretty much sums it up, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Never nice to have a triple bogey on your card, and then I probably wouldn't be smiling very often after a triple bogey, but today's a different day. You know, it's the Open Championship. Get over it quick and move on. So very happy with an under-par score today.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the highlights as well. A birdie and a couple of birdies and an eagle. So that must feel pretty good to know it's in the bag.
Yeah, very nice. I'm just waving to Darren Clark there.
Oh, nice.
Thanks, mate. He sent me a lovely message this morning, cool. Just saying you're good enough. So that was really nice. And sorry, say the question again. Sorry.
No, I liked where you're going because obviously it's been an emotional week, and to get messages like that for you is pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I play practice round with Clark. I'll always do that in an Open, and who better to learn from than someone that's won it and also can play links golf very well. So I always play with Clark in an Open if I can. And the message he sent me, I didn't expect it because he's playing, and also I just wouldn't expect it this morning, and he sent one, a really nice one. So gave me just, you know, that little bit more confidence to know that I could go out there and play the golf I can, and also deal with something like what happened on the 9th hole.
Nice, and that's why we love the game. Links golf, it's a true form of the game, and to be able to be here in the red must feel really, really satisfying.
Yeah, it was nice. I played really nice coming in those last 5 holes, so that's given me a lot of confidence going into the rest of the week. You know, easy for me to just turn that around and go over par today, and that's not how it would have been. Would have been nice waking up this morning or tomorrow morning knowing that, but I flushed it coming in, so that's really nice.
Nice, good to hear.
Thanks,
we'll leave you to it. You've
Cheers.
been doing a lot of talking after a good round, so well done.
I've got drugs testing now as well.
Oh,
so
fantastic. Do you need help with that, or you're
good?
good?
I'll be fine. I
You'll
just
be
need
fine.
some more water because I went to the toilet on 18. So.
Get some H2O on you, mate. Cheers, Matty.
Well, fantastic success on the first day for Matt Wallace, and congratulations to him. But here is fan favourite. It started off okay, the double on 8, big mistake, followed up with the bogey, double bogey. Drop ball on the runway, on the railway for Rory McIlroy. He is at 5 over par, and he needs 2 or 3 birdies to get it, bring that back a little bit. Otherwise, he leaves himself a lot to do, Tim.
He does, but at the same time, he is Rory McIlroy, and he's capable of incredible things, and he can go out there tomorrow and shoot around in the 60s and start nibbling away at whatever disadvantage he's got. So it's infinitely possible that he can make his way back from there, but it's obviously far from the ideal start, and just shows how easily this course can jump up and bite you. A couple of errant shots, one at 8, one at 11, both cost him a double bogey, 4 shots gone. Very hard to make 4 birdies to make that back up very quickly.
Yeah, very difficult. So here we have got a very full driving range. It is a test out there. Let's have a quick closer look just to remind you of the start of this golf course. The first hole, pretty innocuous, 366. You don't get to see too much of the fairway. It really is super flat. The bunkers are like little eyebrows. You can just see them. The 2 up the left, you can take a chance and sort of just, you know, nudge something down there. The first one comes in at 254. Most of the players hitting something a little bit longer towards those 2 right-hand bunkers, just trying to stay short of there and leave themselves 100 yards to the middle of the green. So Tim, the second.
Yeah, second hole, another short par 4 at 389 yards. Again, some beautifully placed bunkers down there. On the left-hand side, the one at 252 to reach. On the right-hand side, 263 and 274. So beautifully placed. And again, the players have the option to take an iron off the tee and just lay it back short of those bunkers and leave themselves a lengthier second, but still only a short iron, as it's a hole under 400 yards. But we have seen players taking a bigger club and trying to get between those first lot of bunkers and this lot up by the green, and potentially leave themselves just a little flip with a wedge into the green. So again, a tactical choice for the players that they have to make on the tee, and you can just see the depth of those bunkers around the greens.
Third hole, again, influenced very much by the little creek that runs through the fairway. It's 281 to reach it on the right there, but you're probably with the firmness of the fairways, you're trying to sort of go, I would say, 25 yards short of that. So nothing more really than 240 off the tee, leaving yourself right around 100 and hopefully a hot start.
Control. It's often out of your reach. Your opponent. A line call. Even the bounce of a ball. Every game is full of unexpected twists and turns. You have the lows, the injuries, being away from home, the pressure. And the incredible highs, the wins, exploring the world. Every day, a new opportunity. Life is rarely a straight line. We can help wherever it takes you.
We are live at the range, day 1 of the 152nd version of the Open Championship at Royal Troon, and Tim Barter. A lot more movement on those flags than before.
Yes, there is. That wind is freshening, and the course is getting more challenging by the moment, it would appear. So these afternoon starters may have watched a bit of coverage in the morning to get a feel for how the course is playing, look at how the greens are bouncing or otherwise, and seeing the strategy some of the players have been using and whether or not it's working out for them.
Tiger Woods is out at 2:37. That's in just about an hour. With Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay, 3 great American players. You were watching the US Open, you saw Tiger Woods' game. You've had a look at him this week. What do you think?
I think he's swinging the club really well. He drove the ball particularly well at the US Open, and that has at times been his Achilles heel. So obviously it's not the athletic Tiger that we used to see in yesteryear. He isn't able to do the things he once was with his buddy, but he does say that he's been working incredibly hard in the gym, and he's now able to do a few things, he didn't go into what, that he wasn't able to do at the US Open now. So obviously he feels his body's in good enough shape, but I think he will be really disappointed to see things as chilly as they are, because those muscles need to be lithe and loose as possible when your body's as battered as his is, and this is not the ideal circumstance for him to play in this sort of temperature, so have to feel for him in that respect.
Just an aiming stick. It's quite an interesting range, isn't it? There's a lot of visuals there. It's not a linear range. There's greens a little bit all over the place. We've seen a lot of guys, you know, be very, very specific about their aiming lines, Tiger included there. That's an important part of practice, isn't it?
Absolutely, because, you know, if you misalign yourself, then your golf swing is going to learn to compensate to find your target. So I've been lucky enough to coach, you know, some of the best players in the world at times, and actually Severiano Ballesteros is one that I was having a look at him on one occasion, and he was aiming 30 yards to the right of where he thought he was aiming and didn't recognize it. So he was wondering why he was having to work so hard to get the ball on the target. And when I sort of looked at him a couple of times and thought, well, he can't really be aiming where I think he's aiming. And I double checked with him, and he said, no, I'm aiming at that 150-yard board. And he was aiming 30 yards to the right of it. And when I showed him, he was flabbergasted that, and obviously it had just incrementally happened. He just crept out of position and kept going and kept going. But now his golf swing, if you're aiming 30 yards right, you've got to do something to make the ball go where you want to go. And therefore, there's a massive compensation that's been brought in. So alignment is crucial, both from the point of view of building a nice foundation on which to build your house of a golf swing, but also giving you proper information. If you don't know where you're aiming, you can't tell what the ball's doing and therefore how your swing's affecting it.
Yeah, I think that's very true. And the other thing is, just because you were aiming perfectly yesterday and the ball was all good yesterday, don't think that you're going to carry that into today. It's something that you need to check on, well, every single time you hit a golf shot. So, Tiger, a magic potion, hydrating. Minwoo Lee, always in motion, Minwoo. So he has given us so many amazing memories. Let's have a look at this one.
But when I got to Hoylake, I felt calm. I felt like I had grieved enough with my father's death. On Sunday, it was a joke at how calm I felt. Snipers take shots. They take shots in between the heartbeats, and that's when the body is the most still. Well, that's kind of almost in essence how I felt. I felt so still. Everything inside me was still and calm. And Stevie had said something to me that your pops, he kept you calm all day. And then it kind of hit me all of a sudden that he's not here anymore. I can't share this claret jug with him anymore, and I just lost it. Every great player who's ever played the game has won that championship. It's all on there. It's just so incredible that we're still playing the same venues that these guys did back in the 1800s.
Tiger Woods. What a man.
Yeah, that occasion at Hoylake, course management was amazing, wasn't it? I think he only hit one driver the whole week or whatever. He just plotted his way around, irons off the tee, leaving himself away from all the bunkers, which we know, as you say, are close to a penalty shot. And he just plotted his way around the golf course so beautifully, relied on hitting lengthier second shots into the greens, but was so confident with his medium and short irons that he was happy to do it. And it was just a clinic. Incredible to watch.
And there have been a few. St Andrews, 2005. And 2000.
Yeah, 2000 to complete the Tiger Slam. So he'd won the last three majors of 1999 and went on to win that St Andrews Open and complete the career Grand Slam, or part of the career Grand Slam, I should say.
So Tiger just clipping a few. We can see with our Top Tracer technology being able to grab the data. This is the data the tour players use to evaluate where they are, what's happening to the golf ball. So the thing that's interesting is they might have some stock yardages, but you add the coldness of the temperature we have here at Royal Troon, the wind, and probably a little bit of rain in the air, and you can just see that it knocks it off. Tiger's eyes will cast across to the left from time to time. That's to see our massive monitor. So
Swing you've
very
studied.
good.
Yeah, swing you've studied, Simon, for many, many, many years. What do you think at the moment?
I mean, the thing that I think is that there's obviously much less drop and rise because he's under, you know, his legs are not as strong and he needs to protect them. So for me, I think the sequence has changed. There's much less separation between lower body and upper body. That, I think, is injury prevention. But I still see the right kind of speed. I think that there's a lot of arm speed in there, which is really positive. He hasn't injured anything there. But there's much more a case of where there's a bit more lateral, right? It's kind of less stacked. It's more level. It's less drop and rise. And there's less separation because the legs don't fire out as violently as they used to. So it's a swing that matches his age, in a sense. It's not a young man's swing, but he's not a young man. No, I mean, the old swing was built on athleticism and, as you say, separation. In other words, as he was wound up into his backswing, his hips would start to unwind while his upper body held, and he increased the amount of torque, almost like winding a spring. But this swing is built, and he's acknowledged this in interviews, this swing is built much more on hand action, which, to be honest, means it's a little bit more vulnerable. If you're using your hands to create clubhead speed, then there's a danger of the club face not being square for quite as long as when you use the more athletic method. But, you know, technically it's very sound. It's in plane, it's on path, it's looking pretty sound. But, say, once you start relying on your hands a little bit to create the speed, then you could be vulnerable to the odd crooked one. So, I would say Tiger is a prolific note taker. If you've ever had a look, he's got a little black book which is all about sort of the thoughts that he's got and all of that sort of stuff, and he's always just sort of tapping things away, little prompts that he's got. Maybe that's a prompt from Rob there. Just, this is what we said last night, these is a combination. Interesting to see also the speed that he moves at. One of the things I notice about some of the great champions, particularly when they get in pressure situations, is the speed that they move at. And you watch him just hitting these shots away, very unhurried, very smooth, silky. Even when he walks back to the bag, it's a very slow wander across to the bag to get another club. You know, you see a young guy here playing in his first Open, they're running around, you know, all over the place, battering balls as fast as they can, trying to prepare, hit as many shots as possible. And yet this is the complete antithesis to that. You're seeing someone who's very aware of conserving energy, trying to keep himself calm, trying to keep himself in the right headspace. So everything's done really, really calmly and smoothly. No hurry at all in this pre-shot repetition, pre-round preparation. Yeah, I always thought, you know, great champions, like the crazier it got around Tiger, the more he slowed down. It's almost like he can control time, at least his time, or how he's influenced by time. And especially like when he was putting, really slowed down. And what he was trying to do was almost like he used to say, I used to try to use like a different nervous system, like not my fast twitch emergency stuff, but like much more my core base muscles, really trying to walk and feel the firmness and feel the slopes and get a picture for the speed. So I think he brought a lot of innovations to the game. He changed the game. There's like golf had many chapters, but there's almost like a before Tiger and an after Tiger. Oh, absolutely. From the point of view of his gym work and his athleticism, when he came out and started hitting the ball past everybody else, they all looked and thought, how's he doing this? Okay, well, he's going to the gym, and he actually is lifting weights, and he is working on his core, you know, to an incredible degree to get himself as strong and athletic and flexible as he possibly could to create massive amounts of clubhead speed through athleticism. And the rest of the guys saw it, saw the success he was having, and thought, we better follow this route. And so the game has turned into what it is nowadays, and it's largely down to the work that he did when he first came out. Wouldn't you thought that he would have had enough staff that they could clean and dry the golf balls while he was working on his game? Yes, that is, you know, a staffing error at the moment. It is a staffing error, isn't it? The caddies just had to go off and get some more balls so that we can forgive him. He would have been doing that. There must be an assistant caddy there as well. There must be the caddy's assistant as well on top of that. Well, you'd hope so. Maybe this is Woods on a budget. It's a budget trip. Tiger Woods, there is our shot data top tracer, bringing you all of the up-to-date modern technology. This is all about ball data. We can measure the carry, the ball speed, the launch, the height, and that is just helping Tiger and his fellow competitors calibrate what their standard is versus what's happening today. How is the ball behaving today? And it will be different.
Absolutely. Yep. Significantly cooler than these guys would be playing in the heat of Floridian sunshine. So they have to recalibrate and say, OK, how far does my 7-iron go today compared to how it normally would go in warm, calm conditions over in North America? And it will be significantly different. Let's just see on the board behind there, flat carry of 180 yards, Tiger's last shot. Ball apex of 100 and ball speed of 137 miles an hour.
Yeah, there's so much data capture now. Bryson, I don't know if you saw this, Bryson DeChambeau was in the Sky Sports open zone and did a fascinating piece with his coach, Dana Dahlquist, using a new technology, which was a measuring technology, kind of coming from the work that Mike Adams and Terry Rolls have been doing. And it was just micro adjustments, the minutest things. If you guys haven't seen that, see if you can find it. It's absolutely fascinating in the way that Tiger, that these sort of modern players, particularly Bryson, have embraced their technology, understood how it can benefit them, and then used it to their advantage.
Yeah, and we all know, Bryson's known as the scientist. He has an incredibly brilliant mind and analyses things and uses language that most of us find quite confusing when he talks about the golf swing. But he actually admitted to Nick Doherty in that piece you're talking about that I'm actually trying to make it as simple as I possibly can when I go and play. Yes, I want to dive deep into the data. Yes, I want to understand every intricacy of the swing. But when I get on the golf course, I'm really just trying to find myself a really simple thought from which I can go and play golf with as much freedom as possible. So although he's incredibly complex in his analytics, when he gets on the golf course, he's trying to free his mind up to the ultimate degree.
Yeah, simplicity, trying to break. You put in so much work to break down something complicated into that one thing, to try to collapse it all down. It's like layers of an onion, you take off one layer and you think, okay, now I'm done. Oh, there's another layer. And maybe that's why the game always beats us, because it's just, there's so many. It's like the guy who's in the circus who's got those sticks and he's got plates spinning on a stick. And professional golf, with all of the different skills you have to manage, short putting, long putting, there's 100. It's like, it's exhausting, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, these guys have to prioritize what they're going to work on, because there are so many areas to work on, both in the game and physically, if you're going to involve gym work as well, flexibility and strength, that there's so many things to work on. You have not got enough hours in the day to do it. So therefore, you're going to have to prioritize, okay, right at the moment, my weakness is X, so I'm going to work on that. Or my strength is Y, so I'm going to try and continue to work on that and make sure it stays as a strength. So they do have to allocate certain time to certain aspects, but cover all the bases over a period of a few months, perhaps.
There it is. There's the fireworks show. That's what Tiger has done so far. You can see, started with some shorter shots, now just working through maybe 8.64. Let's see where he is.
He always had an interesting mindset, didn't he, when he played in major championships? The two things that he tried to avoid were three putting and double bogeys. And he thought, if I don't three putt for the entire week and I don't have a double bogey, I will be amongst it come Sunday afternoon.
Conditions on the golf course at the moment, if we have a look at the scoreboard, it's very tough. 13 players under par as we speak. Tiger Woods soon heading out. That is at 2:37. He is with Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay for company. Behind them, Morikawa, Burns and Siwoo Kim. Then Shane Lowry, the great Irishman, at 2:59. He's with Cam Smith and Matt Fitzpatrick. That's a great group to watch. Then Spieth, Scheffler, Cameron Young. Absolutely fantastic afternoon of golf. Get a cup of tea if you're not out here and sit down and watch this. Confirmation there, Tiger. 38 minutes before he tees out game 43.
Patrick Cantlay once said to me in an interview, the reason he loves major championships, they generally are the sternest tests, and he said it cannot get tough enough for me. The rough cannot get deep enough. The fairways cannot be narrow enough. The greens cannot be fast enough. The harder it is, the more I love it. Well, today he's going to face that sort of test. The greens are not going to be super fast, we know, but in other aspects, this is going to be a really tough test this afternoon.
I think that's right. You know, it was interesting. So many guys relish the opportunity to come and play links golf because of the creativity, because of the fact that they can use all of their shot making, which perhaps on a more generic sort of PGA Tour course, which is more lush, which is softer, you're not calculating roll, you're just calculating carry numbers, you're not really calculating wind, you're just calculating distances off a yardage book and playing a maths game.
Absolutely.
So we've got some fantastic technology here on Live on the Range. Tiger Woods, we have just taken his last shot. He said it's straight out of bounds at the first. We won't tell him that. So let's just see what he does here. Just to give you an idea, we are taking the golf course, we are taking the range, excuse me, out onto the golf course. Tiger, just to give you an indication of where an iron shot goes. Very interesting to see, you know, probably that might not be that far off where he actually tries to hit it, Tim. I think about a 4, what do you think, a 4 or 5 iron?
Yeah, it depends on the wind when he gets there. It's off the right-hand side, but will it be hurting? Will it be helping? He'll obviously be trying to avoid those bunkers down the fairway. That seems to be the general plan, is that most of the guys have taken a long iron, a fairway wood, and just plotted their way down there, taking those bunkers out of play by not being able to reach them, essentially. If the wind's slightly against, you've got more control over the bounce of the ball. When it's downwind on a links course, you can really hit a shot that you think, well, I'll hit it down there 250 to stay short of those bunkers at 280, and suddenly downwind and a shooting bounce, it can find 280 out of nowhere, but into the wind less so, because the ball will land more softly.
So this data is normalized, which means we take into account the wind, the weather. Here we go. That is Minwoo Lee. That is Matt Fitzpatrick. No, that is... Here we go. Tiger. The eyes. The stare. What is he thinking? I'm telling you, he believes he can win this event. Don't know how, but I genuinely believe, as he sees this week unfolding, he sees himself as the champion.
No doubt. No doubt at all about that. He's always said, I will not compete unless I believe I can win, and he will have visualized winning. I'll say, other than the conditions being more difficult for his flexibility, being as cold as it is, he would kind of like the idea it's a really tough test out there. He can use the ground. He talked about that in his press conference. So you can use the ground on a links course to chase the ball out there, so distance isn't necessarily going to be a massive factor. Not that he doesn't hit the ball far enough anyway. But he has all the creativity, all the shots, all the guile, all the course management to do well here, as long as his body allows him to do so. That's the big question mark.
If he's going to win another major, Tim,
I think it's going to be this one, yeah. I think it's going to be this one because of exactly what we've just talked about. You don't need to overpower, you know, an Open Championship golf course. We mentioned the stat earlier on that the last winner of an Open Championship to rank in the top 10 of driving distance was Rory, and that's 10 years ago. So you don't have to be massively long. You just have to manage your game well, produce the right shots at the right time, and if the wind gets up, control your ball flight, control your spin, be tidy around the greens because you're going to miss plenty. And he can do all those things.
First appeared as a 3-year-old in a chat show hitting golf balls. Can't remember who that was. Jimmy Carson? No. Eden, I can't remember. Anyway, seems like, you know, we got to know him when he was winning US Juniors at 16, and he's sort of been in our households ever since.
He certainly has, yeah. The last 25, 30 years, he's been the dominant player in the game until the body finally made things too difficult for him. It's going to be fascinating to see him plot his way around here this afternoon.
It will. He'll be keeping an eye on the scoreboard, and he'll be looking, and he'll be thinking, my best buddy, Justin Thomas, just shot 3 under par, and I'm way better than he is.
Way better?
Way better than Justin Thomas. So what am I going to shoot? There's some great names up here. Adam Scott just shot 1 under par. Justin Rose just shot 2 under par.
Well, again, that'll give him heart, because both of those guys, you know, are in their 40s. So if they can do it, why can't I? And we do see older champions in the Open to the other 3 majors because of what we've talked about, the course management, the experience, the knowing which pins to attack, which ones not to, how to plot your way around a difficult golf course, how to control the spin and the flight of your ball. So experience is more important, it appears, at an Open Championship than any of the other majors.
Or at least power isn't so important. But nevertheless, Tiger's swing to us looks good. The pattern of shots, no double crosses. To me, he looks like he's kind of hit the ball everywhere he's looked so far. Working the ball, always working, never playing a straight shot, always working it in from something, a shot maker, Tim.
Absolutely, yeah. You can maneuver the ball both ways at will, right to left and left to right, change the trajectory from very low to very high. And he will use all of those skills this afternoon. So if he's got a downwind hole off the right, then he can say, okay, big high draw here to maximize the distance off the tee. At other times, he'll want the low penetrating burner shot that we've seen him perfect, the stinger. A little bit more difficult for him to do that now than it was in maybe a decade or so ago. That stinger shot demands quite a lot of athleticism, so maybe a little bit more tricky for him.
He used to have, a long time ago, really bad hay fever. I don't know if he still has that or not, but I remember him saying when he's walking, where were we walking around? It was hot, maybe at St Andrews. It was hot and it was dusty, and he just said the fescue grasses are like the worst thing forever for his allergies. His eyes were so swollen, he was just sort of absolutely losing it.
Yeah, streaming. I remember many times interviewing after rounds, and his eyes are just streaming, and they're so sore, you can see. So he really does suffer with the allergies, as you say.
There we go. Gold. Age 48, 500 surgeries of one type or another. Everything's injured. 9-iron, 150, 7, 180. I'd say he's like a club shorter than the longest.
Yeah, I was just about to say exactly that. He's about 15 yards shorter, isn't he, on certainly the medium irons moving upwards than you would see the top players in the world right now. Their 6-iron tends to be going around the 205, 210, so he's about 15 yards down on that, but they're still blooming good yardages for a 48-year-old whose body has been beaten up. Impressive, really is.
Really interesting, isn't it? Just to see. Well, power is definitely not going to be the thing that stops him from playing, stops him from competing. So will it be just how little competitive golf he's played? Is that going to be a big disadvantage?
Yeah, what is it? This is his 5th start, I think, 5th or 6th start this year, so less than 1 a month. And, you know, it's hard to really stay right at the top of the competitive tree when you're having so few reps of actually being out there in competition. It's all very well hitting balls at home and preparing, and he's not allowed or not able to do that as much as he used to. He doesn't hit anything like as many balls in practice as he used to. But to come out and be competitive when you're literally only starting once a month is difficult. Just seeing the control ball flight now. He's going for the stinger with the fairway wood, hitting a much lower flight, punching it down the fairway.
Yeah, power has changed. I'm going to read you some numbers. This is Ben Hogan's 1948 stock yardages, and Ben Hogan had a fast swing. He was a power player. So sand wedge 80 yards, pitching wedge 100. 9-iron 115, 8-iron 125, 7-iron 135, 6-1 45, 5 155 yards with a 5-iron, 4-iron 165, 3-iron 175, 2-iron 185, 1-iron as you would expect 195, 3-wood 235 yards carry, and the driver 265.
6 iron was what, 145?
6 iron, 145.
And they're now heading at 205.
205. And that is, and Ben, we estimate, looking at Ben Hogan's swing, that he wasn't that far off, like a 115, 118 club head speed. So it just goes to show that the technology has changed the game. I spoke to Podrick Harrington, as you did, who told us he's never hit the ball further in his life, and he's 50 years old.
Yes, extraordinary. He's been obsessed with distance his whole life, and he literally has squeezed every ounce of speed out of his golf swing, and he's literally always worked on trying to hit it as far as he can. And Pete Cowan's a great coach for that particular respect, because he knows all about creating the right pressure on the golf ball and creating the right speed and the right way to do it for a man of Padraig's age. And he's still driving the ball, as you say, as far as he ever did, if not further, and hence he's super competitive on the Champions Tour, because he's one of the longest hitters. So I think he's won 8 times out there already.
Yeah.
And as a longer hitter, that'll stand you in good stead on the over 50s tour for sure.
Ernie Els is another one. He just won at Firestone, which is an unbelievably difficult test. We've been pounding around there at the NEC and the World Golf Championships in the past.
So young man that I coach, Richard Bland, won a couple of majors in a row. Again, one of the longer hitters on the senior tour. From an average hitter on the main tour, is one of the longer hitters on the senior tour, and really exploits that when he gets out there. And he's a great wedge play as well. So he's currently enjoying a rich vein of form.
Yeah, that is great. Blandy, member of a fantastic club, the Wisley. Amazing grass range there. As good as it gets in the UK. So here we go. Tiger, driver. 173 as a reference, kind of PGA Tour average ball speed. Tiger, first shot, just under that. So he's got all the power that he needs. It's not going to be that he can't hit it far enough that he doesn't do well this week.
No, that's absolutely for sure. 254 carry we can see on the board behind. Again, controlling the flight. I think I'm right in saying the new logo has got 15 dashes on it, which is one for each major, I think.
Oh, I love that. I'm going with that. The new logo that he's got, 15 dashes, one for each major. That's how rumours get spread, isn't it?
It is. I've just started one.
Here we go. Tiger Woods. What are you going to do today, this week? That is a great shot. So we take Tiger's shot out to the 11th and never to be seen again. So just an interesting viewpoint. It's such a brutal shot, Tim. It's such a awkward angle, isn't it?
I think the 11th hole is the hardest hole in the world, almost. I mean, you know, in these conditions, particularly when it's into wind off the left-hand side, railway land on the right-hand side, gorse pushes down the left-hand side, nearly 500 yards in length. Is there a harder hole than that in championship golf? I don't believe there is.
No, it'll be very interesting to see how many shots it plays over par. Let's have a look what Tiger does. That looks pretty good. Little baby draw.
It's pretty unfair on him because he doesn't know he's playing the 11th, but there we are.
Just for us to have a bit of fun. Just to give you an idea, like, it's just, we know we're trying to take the range to the course. That's what the players are doing. Look at that, lovely angles. Club really sets into balance. The transitions are way calmer. His work on the range is coming to an end. He is heading out in not long. It is coming up to 2:15. Tiger is out at 2:37. He's going to play with Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay. If I was here and I had the flexibility to walk out onto the golf course to watch the golf, I would be heading straight to watch Game 43. and the amazing man that is Tiger Woods. So the warm-up looks good to us. I think we no reason to think that Tiger doesn't have high hopes of a great day. He's going to have an impact, I think, Tim, of watching what Justin Thomas did. I think that can make a difference to him.
Well, as you say, he plays an awful lot of golf with Justin Thomas back home in Florida, Jupiter Island area, so he knows Justin's game inside out, and he will have beaten him from time to time. Justin talks about it, so he's capable. The difficulty will be here, as we're watching him hit shot after shot after shot after shot. He's staying loose, he's staying flexible, but I'm sorry to keep harping on about it, but when he gets on the golf course and he's only able to hit one shot every 5 minutes, which he will be, then is the body going to seize up in these temperatures? Is he going to find it more difficult to make as fluid a motion as he's making right now on the range? That's going to be a challenge for him.
Yeah, that is a very, very good point. It's the walk, isn't it? It's the walk, it's the stamina of, how long is the golf course to walk? 5 miles?
Yeah,
is that about right?
7,300 yards, yeah.
So Tiger closing down. It looks good to me, Tim.
He certainly does to me as well. I'm going to have to leave you, Simon, I'm afraid. I've got to go off and do interviewing duty.
Tim, we shall wish you well. Extract golden nuggets from those guys, as you always do.
Well, I hope to. And I'm going to pass the baton to young Josh Antman, who's going to do a wonderful job.
Tim, thank you for your company. Stay warm, mate. I have a woolly hat in my bag. Okay. Tim Barter off to the 18th. Josh Antman. Just watching Tiger clip a few before he heads.
Simon Holmes, good afternoon.
Josh.
What a time for me to come in.
Yeah, well, this is the one. So this is interesting. So this is a routine he has always done. And it's interesting, he always has a sort of a practice. This was Nicklaus said, his last shot was always a rehearsal of the first shot that he was going to hit on the golf course. And he's taken driver.
You think he's hitting driver off one, Simon?
I mean, if he hits it like that, why not?
Yeah, why not? I was just out there on the range, Simon, and he was at the short game area. He was in the bunker. Alex Noren stopped what he was doing and watched Tiger out the bunker for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
he just stopped and watched him.
There's a respect that the players have. You know, people used to not want to practice. I mean, like really, really top players. Tiger would come on the range and they'd almost be on the practice range nervous to stand and hit balls next to him.
Amazing. Amazing.
But if you walk around, if you're on the driving range and he comes, it's a different buzz.
It really is.
He brings a vibe that's not the same.
Absolutely.
Rahm is amazing. DJ's amazing. Rory's got a buzz. Tiger's got a different buzz. There's more buzz in Tiger's buzz.
And you know what? I was watching him hit bunker shots. It is on another level to most people. He would hit them very quickly, and the control he had on each one was extraordinary.
So Tiger just must be thinking, just a couple of 3-woods off the tee, couple of good drives. Stay warm, Tiger, go well, and good luck. He is headed to the putting green, I would suggest, by the first tee. 2:37 he heads off. Tiger Woods, Xander Schauffele, Patrick Cantlay.
That is some group. You know what? We know Tiger likes warm conditions. It's very cold out there at the moment.
That's
I've got
a
to say,
disadvantage.
a massive. The wind has picked up in the last half an hour, and it is very cold all of a sudden out there.
I mean, it's not a bad day.
It's not.
Right.
It's not at all.
And there's 11 guys under par.
Yeah. I looked earlier on, about an hour ago, here's a question for you, Simon. Between 11 holes 11 to 14, so those 4 holes, an hour ago, I've not looked recently, how many birdies do you think there were? Combined over the field? No.
6?
No.
None.
3. Over the whole field, between holes 11 to 14, there were 3 birdies in total in the field. That is how difficult that stretch is playing.
And the weather's not that bad, and that's not the worst wind.
Exactly.
Oh, dear.
Amazing, isn't it? What a great test. But we like to see this.
Yeah, we do. Here it is. The driving range stands 5 minutes ago were packed.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Right? The driving range now stands are a third of that. The big cat has left the building.
But what's interesting is 310, match 46, is Jordan Spieth, Scottie Scheffler, Cam Young. I know Cam Young's is down there. He's there in the green, Cam Young.
So, just to give you an update of what is happening, confirmation, best score of the day so far, Justin Thomas, 3 under par, 68. There are some pursuers, but the golf course so far is winning.
Follow the 152nd Open in unrivaled detail on theopen.com and the Open app. Go behind the scenes with Live at the Range in partnership with HSBC from Monday to Friday of Open Week. Track every shot hit at the championship and get real-time statistics with ShotView, powered by NTT data. Get minute-by-minute coverage and expert analysis on the go with the Open Radio. Follow featured groups in partnership with Rolex throughout each day of the championship, and soak up all the action at the stunning 5th hole and the iconic postage stamp with the Par 3 channel. All streams live on RNA TV and the Open app, with a host of other content across the Open's social channels. Get closer to the Open wherever you are.
Well, the range wouldn't be the range without Pete Cowen. Pete, good to see you. We're just saying it's really miserable conditions, isn't it?
Miserable. I had a terrible summer this year. Awful. Not even had one good day. Luckily, I was in Spain last week and it was very nice.
We're available to come next time. Pete, now you've got, how many players have you got here this week? Coach, of course.
5 this week.
Just 5?
Better than the 17 I used to have.
How do you divide your time?
I don't know.
Tell us who the 5 are.
Migliozzi, Brooks, Harrington, Victor Perez. So, I mean...
That's 4 I count. Have you got who's the other?
Well, Brooks,
yes.
Harrington,
yes.
Victor Perez, Migliozzi and Neiman.
There we go. There we go. Great stuff. He's a busy man.
Oh, yeah. Well, do you know how Pete used to get rid of his clients?
How?
It's just like if they missed the cut, they were gone. Week by week. It's brutal.
Is this true?
No, if they don't win tournaments, they're gone.
Oh. Pete, so on a serious note, what's your plan today? The first day of the major, so it's a bit of a relaxed time for you, isn't it?
Well, all the work should be done. The players are warming up to go, and then obviously they'll come for a warm down after and a bit of a debrief, and that's about it, really. It's all the work done. I mean, all the work's out there, and it's tough out there at the moment. Yeah, it's tough for everybody, so going gets tough, the tough get going, as simple as that, and you've got to out there. It's horrible.
Do you, when you're kind of coaching these guys when it is go time, I mean, what's the limit of the things that you can say to them? Because obviously if they do something in the swing that you spot, you can't really give them too much information before they go out. How do you kind of limit what you say?
I don't think there's any coaching done at major tournaments other than this week. Actually, there was a little bit with Purig. He was struggling a little bit. No pressure on the ball. Couldn't control his ball flight. So, you know, he actually was thinking. He was in Scotland and I wasn't with him last week, and he was struggling with his ball flight and his pressure on his ball. So when we came here, we had to do a fair bit of work on, you know, making him understand what it is that he's got to do to actually achieve that, and he's done it really well. And he's back to.
When we're talking pressure on the ball to control ball flight in this wind, is that as in keeping on top of the ball? Or?
Yeah, a little bit more with the shaft pressure and the face pressure and the body movement. So, you know, you can control your ball flight with your body. Don't control it with the hands forward, which everybody thinks you do. But it's really body control. That's what you're doing with the players, making them understand how the body works. It's the engine, so if the engine's not working, we're struggling.
And how's Brooks Koepka feeling ahead of his tee time?
Well, he's always in great shape, Brooks. It's just obviously mentally, when he goes out on the course, I think he's almost got too much time to think about what he's doing out there, and it's going to be 5.5, 6 hours. So I think that's the problem with most of them. Come on, everybody, the time they spend between shots is the difficult part. If the mind's clear, they're fine. But if the mind's on other things that might not be relative to golf, then it becomes difficult for them to concentrate and then switch on instantly for another shot. So that really, outside influences do make people struggle on, especially when it's a tough day.
Yeah, and this is like probably one of the hardest tournaments to block out those outside influences, because there's just so many. You got the wind, you got the conditions, and you got the balls. Have you managed to have a wander out? You must have played it quite a few times.
I played 2 Opens. I played 82 and 89. I didn't do any good, but I did play them, and I thought the back nine was a really tough back nine, but it's not. It's downwind today, so it should be a little bit easier. The front nine's going to be the difficult one today, so really quite that. But I always thought the back nine here was the toughest nine on any open venue.
Yeah, it's, as you say, a little bit easier. Well,
easy.
Very
much quotation
the wind.
marks,
I know the wind is tougher on that front nine, but we're seeing sevens out there. We've had an 8, a couple of 8s. It's possibly, I mean, gosh, you can feel the wind here, can't you, on the driving range?
Yeah, it is quite strong, and it's cold, and the ball doesn't move anywhere near as far when it's as cold as that. So, yeah, good luck to them out there.
Exactly. That's what you say to your players. Good luck.
Yeah,
off you go. Well, your work is done. Thanks, Pete. Go and get a cup of tea.
Nice to see you.
Cheers, mate.
Back to comms.
Cheers, Nat.
Great. There you hear from Pete Cowen. Absolutely legendary guy. Loves the game. He's helped so many different players. So generous with his time. He's done a lot for a lot of people. Charming man.
He is great, Pete. He is. I love listening to Pete Cowen. He, as you said, he is so passionate about the game. I tell you, I've timed this so well. Tiger Woods, and now we're going to call him the next Tiger Woods. Scottie Scheffler.
Scottie Scheffler. Now, it's been interesting because as I have been in here quite a few times during the weekend and all come onto the driving range to watch what he's been doing. And I don't think he's in the most amazing form. So,
well, we haven't seen him since the Travellers.
Yeah.
He's had 6 wins since March.
Yeah.
But we've not seen him since. He's just had a baby.
Yeah.
I think that's obviously family's really important to him.
Yeah.
Scottie, as we know. I mean, he's fresh. You could say that about Scheffler. He's very fresh. And he's got a decent open record. I think he was top 10 on debut. There we go. Look at great timing. He was top 10 on debut, and he's had a couple of top 25s. And arguably, he is a much better player now.
Yeah, he's the best iron player, I think, that I've seen, maybe apart from Tiger in sort of a few different periods. I've never really seen someone hit. It's not so much about your average shots, but he's so many good shots. He hits so many shots which are scoring shots.
You know what impresses me the most about his iron play? He is pin high all the time. His distance control, it's just incredible. Him and Ted Scott is like, it's a dream for Ted Scott. But what a job he's doing.
Yeah, amazing. So, look how precise. This is really interesting. Just look how precise. He puts his hands on the club, orientates it to the face in his hands. And I think he's a great iron player because he's so good at calibrating that face through the ball. I think he feels that so well in his swing. We saw him working a little earlier, maybe just moving a little bit more into his right side, maybe giving himself a little bit more time. He does move into the left side very early. Him and Tony Finau, for me, I mean, the club is not much past hip high, and he's already shifting forward.
You can see that his transfer is there, and so his low point is so far in front of the ball, and that's why his iron play is so good, and he compresses it.
So have a look. Lovely angles. Very tall guy. Doesn't look tall there, doesn't he? Well proportioned. High arm plane. Kind of, Rory McIlroy's arm plane is a little bit more towards his right shoulder or even deeper. Scottie Scheffler's is really sort of almost like a Justin Thomas, like a Dustin Johnson. Very vertical left arm. So almost like if you imagine that plane is more like a London Eye, more straight up and down than a merry-go-round, sort of tilted over a little bit. So nice high left arm, lots of forward motion, lateral motion.
It's hard to tell from that angle, but he is so far left at impact.
Yeah.
He's looking over there at the board, at our stats.
Yeah, so we can just, we've been able through Top Tracer technology to kind of capture for you the same data that the players are using to calibrate and gauge their swing. The Masters victory was amazing. PGA, I think, is a bit of a blip. He was kind of derailed a little bit there. And the US Open, he never really showed up.
Didn't,
so
really.
It's going to be interesting. So he's really using our board as a guide. And what they're trying to do is just to see off their standard, like let's suppose, you know, a warm day in America versus this day here with the wind, with the rain, how much is, what's happening to the ball? How much have I got to factor in? Like, where's the adjustment, you know? And that's an interesting thing. It's something that you typically in America, I would say 90% of the time you're not doing that. You're just playing the numbers.
So I was going to say this. I think Scottie's game is all about control and distance control. Links golf in these conditions, I think, might veer him off slightly, and I don't think he'll be as comfortable as he is on a PGA Tour course, on a Valhalla, something like that. I think this is slightly outside of his comfort zone. What do you think, Simon?
It's certainly a fair point. I think that he spends 98% of his time training not for this. So this is a new challenge. I am incredibly impressed with his iron play. I mean, he has hit so many amazing shots. And I also think probably the strongest part of his game is in his head. You can't see the strongest part of the game. The mental side, for me, is really, really strong. The putting has been a weakness. He's done a lot of work with our friend Phil Kenyon in sort of at least having a system. So just don't keep trying tons and tons of stuff. Right? So stabilize it. Phil Kenyon teaches a lot about the read. He teaches a lot about the speed. He gives you a lot of processes. So I think Phil explains it to you, but then he also gives you the tools so you own the piece. You can take away the lesson that Phil gave you. So Shane Lowry is out there. He won't be too worried about today's weather, Shane Lowry.
Oh, Shane, are you kidding me? After Portrush? Portrush, the weather in Portrush was something else, so this is nothing for Shane.
So
can I say something else about Scottie Scheffler? And I've said this for a while. I still think people underrate his short game. I think around the green, he might be the... I'm really struggling. I love Patrick Reed's short game. I think that's fantastic. I'm really struggling to find people who are better around the greens than Scottie Scheffler. When I watch him, it looks like he wants to chip in every single time, and he does it a lot. That's not by accident.
No. He's a wizard. There's a lot to his game. He doesn't have the sort of the pizzazz of a Min Woo Lee. He's not playing that game. He's very calm. He is his own man. But he's shown us he's a fighter. He's got a lot of grit. He's got a lot of game, and currently, I would say, the world's best iron player.
Yeah, without a doubt, yeah. What's interesting here, let's talk about the grip here, Simon, because most people won't know he has a club that has a grip on it that puts his fingers in exactly the right position. It's not this, it's his normal club. But he uses it. It's available to most people, and it's almost like it's meant to be the perfect grip. And he uses that to get his grip in the right position. And you can see that before every shot, he's making sure his grip is in the right spot every time. The basic fundamentals for people watching is sometimes things that people forget, Simon, aren't they? As a coach, you'll know this.
Look at this.
But he does it every time.
Really precise.
Yeah.
Orientating his hands to the face.
And that's so important, Simon. A good grip, as you know, is so important.
A good grip opens up you the chance to become a good player. A bad grip is something that just handicaps your chances of future gains, because you can't overcome all of the problems that a bad grip can have. The bad grip can be that it's too much in the palm. That's typical. If you have it in the palm, it's more difficult to use your wrists properly. You know, there's all sorts of elements. But if you you know, if you're interested in the game, go find your PGA pro who's close, and they'll show you the basics straight away, and then you're off and running. Scheffler. Using our top tracer technology, that is not a flight that he normally hits. He'd be a high ball hitter. Come here, you can see him trying to hit that. I bet you his normal's around a 115. That was 76, so he's trying to hit a little bit more of a low flighted shot, and maybe just leans onto it a hair too much.
Great angle, camera angle this for his footwork as well.
Yes.
You watch that right foot slide. Ooh. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it kicks forward.
It's great though.
Yeah, it
works for him.
It's lateral, and then it's really, really vertical.
Exactly.
So he stops the lateral with the vertical. That kind of puts the brakes on that lateral, and also the rotation. And he's just trying to work that ball in there from the left side if he can.
Look at that grip again. Looks down, makes sure.
Scottie Scheffler not far away from his tee time.
I'm really fascinated to see how he's going to do today, because I'm a huge Scottie Scheffler fan. I mean, he's not... if people know me, they know what a fan I am of Jordan Spieth. We spoke about Bryson here earlier, about someone who's box office. Jordan Spieth, for me, is someone who, when he's on TV, I want to watch him play golf, because I don't know, at the moment, I don't know what's going to happen with Jordan Spieth. I still keep thinking to 2017 and Birkdale.
Yeah,
and that range.
That is the image. You know, it is so interesting. You know, you can see, so Jordan Spieth, he is out at 10 past 3 with Scottie Scheffler and Cam Young. Some group it is this afternoon. So Spieth looking for some magic, trying to recreate these moments from Birkdale.
So the 13th hole, probably the hardest hole on the golf course. I just didn't commit to playing a draw. Instead, I lined up to hit a fade, and I left the face dead open. But 3 drops that took place, I end up on the driving range and hit it up next to the green, chip it up there, and I have a putt for bogey, and Kuchar just made par, and I'm thinking to myself, with everything that just happened, I can knock this 6-footer in and only lose a stroke. And I just put a little extra pace than I really wanted to on that putt. And then with about 2 feet to go, I'm like, wow, that's a really good putt. And then it drops. There is no greater history than the Open Championship when it comes to golf.
It kind of hit me that this is the greatest trophy in our sport. So that moment on the 18th green there at Birkdale was very special.
The greatest trophy in our sport is true. And thank you, Jordan Spieth. You have been an amazing champion golfer of the year. Great ambassador in the rises of his game, in the falls of his game. He's got some record here. He is a shot maker.
He really is. Where does that rank in the all-time back nines of Open Championship history? That at Birkdale in 2017.
Epic.
After that bogey, he went birdie, eagle, birdie, birdie.
Yeah.
That is, and wins by 3.
Kuchar had to be. Kuchar must be thinking at home in Orlando right now. What happened there? I had 1.5 hands on the trophy.
Yeah.
The guy was in the bush, and then I was never even in the tournament.
It wasn't even close after that.
So
it wasn't even close. It just. What's interesting though now about Jordan Spieth is he hasn't had a top 10 since the Valero Texas back in April. I don't know what's going on with his game. He doesn't quite seem the same Jordan Spieth at the moment than he was. He seems he wants to do a lot of tweaking, Simon. I don't know what you think.
It's funny because I look at his swing, and if I'm honest, it looks better to me.
Okay.
Right, and I look at his driving.
Can I ask, why does it look better to you?
Yeah, so I think that, you know, the weight shift or the weight pressure. So I think he's a guy who needs to move a little bit into that right side so that he has enough time to open up. Right now, he's a left-handed guy playing right-handed, and I think sometimes if he gets kind of like too stacked or in the wrong address position, he's so centered to the ball so early that he doesn't have enough time to rotate open, and he gets stuck too square to it, and then he can be handsy. So that's what I see. So I like the fact, like when I first met him, and he was probably a high school player.
Wow, that long ago. Okay.
With Ollie Schneiderjans.
Oh wow, what happened to him?
Who I thought was going to be amazing.
Yeah, so did I.
So anyway, he just played like a low cut, Spieth. Just played a low cut. He's left-handed. He pulled through the ball. He had an amazing feel for the short game shots, and pretty one-dimensional as a tee to green player. Just a low fade, low fade, low fade, but the same. And then he was a high school guy, and I think in the Byron Nelson, you know, he finished like 8th or something.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Right, and then he had to run off because he had to go and do some high school graduation. He just thought, who's this kid? Well, we found out pretty quickly at John Deere, and he just exploded onto our scenes, doesn't he? Mm. And he's a very interesting watch, I would say.
It's fascinating.
Because there's not a, you can't really say, okay, what's happening next? What's going to happen next, Jordan? And then just the creativity, he's a Houdini, total Houdini.
Do you think when he won the Masters and he was one of the best players in the world, do you think his putting got him out of a lot of trouble?
No question. His putting outside of, let's say, 15 feet was absolutely...
They were almost gimmies.
We'd never seen anything like it.
They were almost gimmies at one point.
Yeah, we'd never seen anything like it. So what we've done here, just taken that 3-wood shot that he's hit there, superimposed the shot that he's hit onto the first hole, just to give you an idea. Now we're into the driver. Right, so imagine you take a driver onto the first hole. We're going to be able to show that. Cameron McCormack, his long-term coach and really close friend through highs and lows, with the sunglasses on the top of the cap there. Now, here we go. Spieth with a driver on the first. Superimposed. It's a busy address position, isn't it?
There's a lot going on.
There's quite a bit going on.
Fidgety.
Yeah. Now, look at that. That's where a driver would go.
That's what you want.
If
he's almost driven
you
the
were
green.
to take it on. So, don't know. Has anyone hit that shot today?
No one's hitting that shot today.
No. Yeah, it's interesting. That's an into the wind shot. So, going to be really interesting to see. And just the feedback, like, look how much chat he's got of telling Cameron what he's doing.
I saw Spieth on the range yesterday. Mike Grello's caddy was there, and Cam McCormack was there, and he does chat a lot in between shots, and he's asking Cameron like this, and this. Micro
adjustment questions. Yeah. So he's busy mind. It's a lot of stuff there, isn't there?
His right thumb, the regrip of the right thumb. Look at that.
Yeah, but it kind of makes sense. So as a lefty, you know, your tendency, because your instinctive weight shift goes the opposite way, right? You know, from trail foot to lead foot, which is from left foot to right foot. I wonder if that's why, one of the things that influences it. But there's the hands. Look at the thumb.
Amazing, isn't it, that?
It's almost like the thumb's damaged there.
Is he trying to find a trigger there, do you think, Simon? He's just waiting till he's ready. Look at that.
That was a great look, wasn't it?
Wasn't it brilliant, that? That's a great... The camera people are doing a fantastic job.
Oh,
and that was great to see, wasn't it?
Yeah. Our camera team are the best. Yeah, the live on the range show, I think, has brought a completely different view to you. Look at that. Is that right thumb not really damaged?
It looks like he's broken his nail or something like that. He's making me fidgety watching that. I don't remember Spieth being like that. In 2015, I don't remember him doing that as much. Maybe we weren't looking for that, to be fair, as well.
I'll tell you what, in the short putting, do you not agree that there's a lot of moving parts now?
So many.
And it's not the same timing. It doesn't pull the trigger at the same point.
Not even close.
Here we go. This is the low flight. Let's have a look at the apex.
That's that's what you want around here in these conditions at the moment.
Yeah, just dropping it a hair. Still quite high at 110. Tee down. So Cameron, tee it down even more.
He's going through these quite quickly. Interestingly, Spieth.
It's that new Titleist driver, magic. So many players have been working with their manufacturers. Scottie Scheffler shuffling off. Anthony Wall.
Anthony Wall in the background there.
Wide
He's still a fine player. Still a fine player, Anthony.
Spieth from driver to wedge. Scottie Scheffler walking towards us with his wedges, doing a bit of short game. Be very interesting to see how it works for him. The range has filled completely at the arrival of Tiger Woods and vacated, and it has done the same for Rory McIlroy. Those are, I would say, the two fan favourites. Shane Lowry has got a gang. Tommy Fleetwood's got a gang.
Yeah, they've all got gangs. They've all got gangs. Yeah, that wind has definitely picked up in the last half an hour, I would say.
So let's have a look where it sits. JT out there, 68. Alex Noren, Nicola Højgaard, Rose, Henley and Sepp Straka, all at 2 under. So we are live at the range. It is 2:47, still a couple of hours more tee times. We have just said goodbye to Scottie Scheffler, Jordan Spieth, Cameron Young. They are now in the process of doing a bit of short game. That is Akshay Bhatia. Josh, a man, I would say, with a rising career.
I think you're absolutely right. Won earlier this year, could have won twice actually on the PGA Tour, Akshay. And this is a golf swing which I've seen for the last few years. I saw him when he was quite young. And Simon, I would say this is a very modern day golf swing. His hips are so quick and they are so open at impact. And for me, he is going to win a lot more than just the one PGA Tour title.
Oh, I think that's right. So have a look at this. Ugh. Really to jump and release, isn't it? It's the dropping and rising of the pelvis that's really been shown to be like the kryptonite move for power. So if we sort of look at, let's see as he gets a little longer. Okay, Akshay. I think he's actually just playing holes. I think he and his caddy are just playing holes here, so he's just going through some tee shots. But watch his hip height there, and then as it drops and rises, so level and down and up. Can you see that?
That
like
right
down
hip,
and up.
yeah, that right hip comes up and around
really
so quickly.
Posts on that front leg there.
But you look at his stats for the year. In the strokes gained stats, he is up there in nearly every single one. Strokes gained total, he's 10th on tour.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. He's absolutely a flusher. So just going through some of the different shots, just trying to find the feeling, the adjustments for the day. You know, I think he's living in California. So imagine you're in California and then you come here. It's not the same.
Interesting. This is his debut at the Open as well. I think this is we were talking about Scheffler with these conditions possibly leveling things out. I'd be interested to see how Akshay plays in these conditions on links course, because he won't have played much links golf. You've also got the likes of the Heritage and Pebble, but this is different.
Yeah, it is. I think there is becoming on the PGA Tour a little bit of the same test each week, and then you come and the medium hitters are, you know, don't have many opportunities to kind of show their shot making. Brian Harman probably the perfect example, where David beats Goliath, right? We saw that last year. You know, he was unbelievable. You couldn't move him. So it'll be interesting.
Left-handers have got a chance here. We were talking about this earlier. Draws for right-handers on that back nine, especially. Left-handers, you know, I think they've got a shout here. I really do.
Well, Mickelson thought that being left-handed, apart from the 10th hole, which he finds really difficult, was an advantage for him. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that is true. Mickelson, a great student of the game.
He's in good form, you know. Top 20 at the US Open. He had a chance at the Travellers. The Travellers is it's a signature event.
Oh yeah,
big with all the guys that are in this field are there. They're there. So he's not scared to win to go for it in big events.
No, I think that's right. You know, no, he's a Wake Forest guy. Great university program there in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and I have a feeling that is possibly where he still lives. I can't remember. So nevertheless, beautiful conditions in that part of the world, North Carolina.
I said he's only won one event. I'd take that back. I'd forgotten he won the Barracuda, which was this time last year. What a long way he's come.
Yeah, 100%.
Against this event. So he's come a long way in 12 months.
Oh, yeah, a game on the rise, you know. So really interesting. So Akshay, he's going to be teeing off at 3:21, just about in half an hour. Tom Hoge and Sami Valamäki from Finland. So right now, Morikawa has just teed off. Sam Burns and Siwoo Kim head out, followed by a 2:59. If you're out here, go and follow Shane Lowry, Cameron Smith, and Matt Fitzpatrick. That's a great group.
It's a great short game putting three ball. That is. That really is.
Oh, those are three wizards there. Those are three complete games. Cam Smith's an unbelievable short game, great Aussie short game, great putter.
His short game at St Andrews when he won, Cam Smith, was just out of this world.
Must have picked up 8 shots on Rory McIlroy on the last day alone.
Yeah, at least.
So Akshay just working through a little 3-wood, I would say, just off the tee.
You can see he's exclusively a fade here, Akshay as well.
Yeah. Super strong grip, just holding it through. That's Matt Wallace in all, I suppose that's cream there.
That, yeah.
He's done really, really well.
The other thing about Akshay is there's nothing of him.
No,
well.
he is very slight, isn't he?
Yeah.
Very, very slight. Yeah, so Matt Wallace, just to confirm, he is in the house, back on the range, 1 under par.
And he had a triple Was it on 9? He had
a triple on 9.
He went into the bushes to the right of 9, going along like he had a downhill lie. It wasn't easy, and he just squeezed it out into the bush. And that triple cost him probably the lead in this Open Championship. But he'll take on, anyone will take under par today, Simon, wouldn't they?
Oh, under par, just so you know.
How many are under par, Simon, at the moment?
Under par's 13 people.
There we go.
13 people.
I don't know about you,
par.
Simon. I like this at an Open where you're fighting to be level par is a very good day in an Open. I like that in an Open Championship.
Yeah,
I don't know about you.
No, I think that's what you want. You want the tough test. The best players want the tough test.
Yeah.
The viewers, us as spectators, the viewer wants to see the battle of the elements. That's what you get. This is forged by nature, right? This is not maths. This is an arts test. So that is the first tee. Akshay Bhatia, if he would have hit that ball, that's where it would have landed. Absolutely perfect. So
Wind
it'll be
off
really
the right
interesting
as well.
to see.
It's a fade and a fade again.
Yeah, I don't think you can be so aggressive. I mean,
it's a pretty generous fairway, that
yeah,
first.
it is up
it's
the
generous.
right. Yeah, it's just those 2 left traps.
Yeah.
It's the 2-5-4 trap. That's the first trap, and the 2-6-7. You can obviously take that on. You could take that on and get yourself up there a little closer, but you don't really need it. It's only, I mean, if you lay back to 240, you've only got 115 in. So that's probably the play I would suggest. So let's see what Akshay does now.
You know what I think is fascinating here, Simon, especially Royal Troon? I said the wind can switch a lot. If you're an afternoon play and you've been watching some of the morning play and seeing guys hit whatever off one, you go out now and it's completely switched, and you go, well, what I thought I'm going to hit now is completely different.
Yeah, and that's what we examine for our champion golfer of the year. You have got to be flexible, creative, imaginative. This is not all about straight lines. This is how do you get to A to B, but you might have to go through this movement to get there. There's not a maths solution here. The scientists are only a small part of this. The artists are the major part, and there are no straight lines in life or in golf, especially at an Open.
You know what, and you look at two, well, one who's at the top and one who's tied for second. Justin Thomas, incredible around the greens. Like, incredible. Alex Noren, incredible around the greens.
Yeah, you're going to need that. I mean, let's suppose you hit 9 greens in regulation today. I would say that would be heroic.
Oh, I would take that and run.
So, the 11th hole.
The railway hole.
Evil. Rory McIlroy derailed.
Yes.
Derailed on 11.
I mean, where's the fairway, Simon?
Yes, nobody really knows.
It's there somewhere. There's a slither
on 10
somewhere, and on 10.
I find that a really hard tee shot. So
yeah, there's just no room there. There's no room.
It's the optics which are so challenging. You know, I think the optics is what fools people. You know, the golfer is not trained now to see the curve. The golfer is trained to see the straight line. All the data, the straight line. So let's have a look here. So if we take this tee shot by Akshay and we take it across.
I mean, if he has his usual
11th.
fade, he's starting this over the railway.
Let's have a look. There's the jump.
Yeah.
So let's have a look and see where that goes. The baby fade.
It's perfect.
Absolutely perfect. And Rory McIlroy would have got that, bought that from you for 6 figures.
But you look there, he's hit a driver he's still got 236 in left him for a second.
Oh yeah, but this is 5.
It's a brutal hole.
And in a series of brutal holes.
11 to 14 today. As I said,
yeah,
they're playing so difficult.
Justin Thomas,
par 3.
Justin Thomas has had a worldie, right? And he's 3 under par. So Jason Day, I can confirm, he is 1 under par. That is good news for Jason Day fans. Adam Scott. That brings a little warm, fuzzy feeling.
Doing one for the older generation. Well,
I'm part of that.
Early 40s.
And you know what? I remember Adam Scott when he played at Aronimink Golf Club in the US Junior, and he was like 14, and I watched him play.
Who's this guy? Who's this kid?
I know. I was like, oh, that is Tiger Woods. Justin Rose. Yes, Justin Rose. You know what? Justin Rose, well deserved. He went to qualify. He's gone to qualify. Justin Rose, as experienced as he is, just so you know how much it means to him, went to Burnham and Barrow, took his game down there, went up against the final qualifying, got through that loop, and here he is on the leaderboard. That is well deserved. Justin Rose, let's go all the way to the top.
You know, he would say there would have been a lot of pressure on Rose at Burnham and Barrow because he was the biggest name in that qualifying by a distance, and you'd expect Justin Rose to qualify. The fact he did and he won it is something else. And then to go out today, bogey-free, I should say, in these conditions, that is, I know it was a 69, that would be like a 65 on other days, on other courses.
Yeah, but you know what I like? The fact that he went, you know what? I'm going to play this, and if I have to qualify, that's fine.
Yeah,
and
fantastic.
Off I'll go.
Love it.
Good as he is, amazing. That is being a proper golfer. Impressed by that. Well done, Justin Rose. So Akshay, clipping some little baby fades, and we wish him well. Current status as we look at the very few names. How about that? 1 under par.
It's great to see.
Is on the top of the leaderboard, in the top 10 of the leaderboard. Amazing. 3 under, still leading.
There's no way I should be here. I should be dead or in prison. I mean, how else would you gauge this? And a guy comes off of a cotton farm, you know, to become one of golf greats? Are you kidding me?
He hit the flagstick, and the crowd erupts. He just stormed onto the scene. And he has put it in the can.
He's a magician.
He's got it.
I never had any dreams about going on tour. I didn't know anything about it.
His story's amazing. His journey's amazing.
What a great shot.
We were poor. We needed money to buy food.
Steve Rufino, a 28-year-old club pro.
Didn't belong. I knew I didn't belong. It was unbelievable.
And he put up with a lot.
That past is so painful to him.
I would like to forget it, to tell you the truth.
Our culture has a short memory, and I think it's time for us to be reintroduced to Lee Trevino.
I'm playing for my life out here, you know?
It is the American dream.
Why, oh, why?
He hustled the world.
Good afternoon, everyone. We've made it out of the rain indoors because it's cold out there, and we're at the HSBC Golf Zone, and we're joined by a couple of young superstars. Guys, welcome to the HSBC Golf Zone. We've got Gu and Ren from the CGA HSBC China Junior Golf Program. Now, these guys have been supported for 17 years, that's right. So grassroots golf all over China. Over 120,000 kids have come through. So, guys, we're going to have a little putt-off. What do you think? You having fun this week?
Yeah.
How much fun was the Junior Open? I know you played down at Barassi.
It's really fun, and the club is quite difficult. To me, I think it big challenges to deal on the green.
Nice. Well, it's all about learning, all about experience, and we want to learn from you. So why don't we go have a little putt-off and see who can win, all right? Maybe you jump down this end. Ren, Gu, you go down this end. Let's do it. All right, here we go. So what do we got? How many balls? Should we go 4? We'll just go 4. All right, best out of 4. Let's do it. So it's all about supporting grassroots golf all over China. As I mentioned earlier, 120,000 kids have come through and have been helped all over the country. So that is what it's all about. And playing in the Junior Open this week at Barassi, it's all about giving kids the opportunities to grow and perform and jump to the next level. I know Hao Tong Lee's been a part of this. Oh, there's fast greens. Are they as fast as Barassi? Here we go. They're in the zone here, which I love seeing. Well, the HSBC Golf Zone. They're getting right into it. All right, Goo. He's due. Oh! How's that missed? All right, one last chance. On the left, last chance here. Go on, go on. He's done it. He's got a little fist pump there as well. You beauty. Come on, Ren. The pressure's on. This is the big stage. She looks like... Go on, get in. Yeah! Woo! You can't split them. Yeah. We'll be seeing you at the Open. We'll be seeing you at the AIG Women's Open in the future, I have no doubt. But that's what the Junior Open's about, and that's what this program is all about. Supporting the youngsters, grassroots golf. It's growing in China. You beauty.
More madness, but great to see. Yeah, HSBC doing a great job promoting the future of the game. Juniors are our future. If you have the chance at your club to make your junior program better, please do it. We need to have it. So, scenes from the range as the guys head out for what is a very difficult first round. All guys have come back in nursing their wounds. Somewhere out there is Di Stewart, and she has a special guest.
Well, we've actually got Kate Rose. We were trying to grab her, and now she is here. Tell us about the Rose Ladies Series. You work incredibly hard behind the scenes promoting women's golf. What year are you in now?
So Rose Ladies Series, we've done 5 years, weirdly, because it was just supposed to be for COVID. And Rose Ladies Open, which is on the LET Access Series, has been 3 years.
Fantastic. And what's the feedback been from, because I've spoken to some of the girls that have played in the events over the years, and they just say it's a breath of fresh air. It's what's needed because they need competitive play. Was that the goal originally?
Yeah, definitely. To give them something to play for, experience, bigger courses, as good courses as we can possibly provide them with. So we've been really excited to, have the likes of Birkdale, Hillside, Royal St George's, so many great courses being part of the Rose Ladies Series, and then just to give them...
Your husband's about to leave. Yeah, go on. You carry on. Thanks, Justin. Thank you. We totally interrupted you, both of you there. But it is fantastic because I see the benefit that so many of the ladies get from just being able to meet up with each other and to play and to fine-tune their games. Now, the Rose Ladies Series is now part of the Ladies European Tour Access Series.
The Rose Ladies Open is. Sorry, it's all a mouthful. Rose Ladies Open is on the LET Access Series. Yes.
And how well is that doing?
That's doing well, I believe. I mean, I ask all the girls for feedback all the time whenever I'm around. They seem to really value it, and it does seem to be serving a purpose. And then, we're trying to increase the budget, increase what they can earn, and then also just increase their awareness, the media's awareness. And I think it's just all about getting their names out there, getting their stories out there, giving people at home an understanding of who they are, and then they'll want to root for them more and tune in more, and it's just sort of self-fulfilling prophecy that they'll get more coverage. So it's just trying to give them a little bit more platform.
That makes perfect sense. I love what you're doing, and well done for you and Justin getting behind it. And I know you're always in the office, emailing, making phone calls. It's not seen, but it's, all of us in the business know what you're doing. So thank you so much, Kate.
Welcome, darling.
Oh, can you buy me a latte somewhere? Come on, because we don't have one here.
To tennis soon.
Okay. Yes, we are tennis doubles partners. Yeah.
We played about 3 times in about 5 years.
To get back to it, she's got a better forehand. Back to comms for now. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really great. I think that that Justin and Kate saw a major problem in the LETs playing options and availability, and kind of stepped in there. And hats off, especially to her, for following up an initiative. So really good initiative, very important for the development of especially LET young players, playing opportunities. Hats off to the pair of them. A difficult day here. It's a difficult start, certainly, and, well, let's have a look at the 4th hole. 599 it is. That's a new tee, pushed a little bit further back. Josh pushed a little bit further to the right. And I suppose as you stand back there, those two left bunkers which stand out there at 337 and 363 from the back tee are what you aim at.
Yeah, there's that bunker on the right-hand side there. It's 293 to carry. If you're a Rory, if you're a Bryson, that's probably the line they're looking for, Simon. It obviously depends on the wind as well, but you carry that, you cut the corner, and you've got a good chance of getting there in two.
Yeah, I think today it'd be interesting to see how many guys take it on, but nevertheless, you know you have to take advantage of these par fives because there are some brutes ahead of you, but you can see the bunkering capturing the left side and the right side of the green, and then another little nasty thing on the right side of the green there. So it is a really tough hole. The fifth, Josh, that's the par 3. That right bunker is now more of a middle bunker because the tee has been pushed towards the...
It's very clever.
The push to the right to make that more of a centre bunker. So now you've got to come in over the top of that more. So those right pins probably way more difficult to access than they used to be, but look at the shape of the bunkers there. I mean, they're just like little plugs been taken out.
I like that.
Take us through the sixth.
Yeah, sixth hole, par 5 at 623, longest hole in Open Championship history. They've extended this by 22 yards this week. That first bunker is 300 on the left-hand side, and 322 on the left. You've got that sole bunker over on the right-hand side. Everyone's been laying up here today. There's no chance of getting there in two, and it's a straightaway as you like from here. You've got two bunkers just either side, short of the green, waiting to gobble up anything that's a bit too keen. And there's that little bunker, that little pot bunker on the right, Simon. It is fantastic, isn't it, there?
So some players have not gone, some players have been and gone and are back, including England's Matt Wallace. He is 1 under par, and he's got to be feeling pretty good about the day. Somewhere will be Matt Belsham.
There he is in the blue.
He's in the blue there.
He was with Alex Noren after Alex's round.
He was
on the range and around the chipping green. Matt's possibly one of the biggest, busiest coaches here this week. Matt Wallace works so hard on his game. He works so hard on his game, Matt. I know it matters a lot to him as well.
Yeah.
And there was a really interesting thing that the DP World Tour are doing, the green room, where players go in after their round and they like kind of are asked a question by basically it's a robot. And Matt was very emotional, and he said times have been really hard at the moment. He's been struggling, and you can just see how much it matters to him. He's quite an emotional guy, Matt. He's admitted that before. But his iron play is, when he's on, his iron play is elite, Matt Wallace.
Yeah, I think he's got to be looking at like sort of what's the next level. The next level's got to be contending in a major tournament and seeing what happens when you're under that amount of pressure. You know, that is, there are steps that you have to take. You very rarely leapfrog a step, and if you do leapfrog a step, you normally fall all the way back to the bottom again. So it's just one of those things. You earn your dues. There it is.
What's he working on here, Simon?
Just a sequence drill. So what you don't want to have happen is that club to kind of flip back behind you, flip the club head back behind you as you start down. So he's just trying to keep that linked up in front of him. So you can see trying to use quite a lot of arm speed so that there's a sequencing, like not a dead heat between the chest and the hips and the club, but you know, where you get the right combination. So you don't want to have that grip arrive too early to the ball and too narrow, because then you're just going to fan it out or flip it. So let's have a look and see. Trying to use that right arm, perhaps keep a bit of pressure down on the club. Low hands through the ball, not high hands through the ball.
I like his rhythm, Matt Wallace.
Yeah, low and left grip through the ball, not high right grip through the ball. So
can I ask you, Simon?
Yeah.
As a coach, I'm thinking of Matt Belsham here. So he has Alex Noren and then Matt Wallace. How difficult is it for you as a coach to go from someone like Alex Noren, who you was talking after his round, who is just just watching him on a range hurts my head sometimes, to someone who's very different in Matt Wallace. How difficult is that to try and just get your head around as a coach?
Yeah, you have your triggers, which are, you know, you might even walk and talk differently to different players. You know, you're trying to use their prompts and guide them through the next thing. And you're in a situation like this, I would say you're probably not initiating. You're just giving feedback. You're very much sort of, okay, that feeling is exactly the right one, or you know what, this, when you're doing it correctly, you do this a bit more. So you're just nudging them into the right place, and almost more than anything, preventing them from going down the wrong road, right? So once they get under pressure, they could try to change their habits, and you're like, no. So no ripples on the pond. You just want to be able to keep it calm so that when they get under pressure, they're ready to execute and they can deliver exactly the right thought process to that situation.
I was watching Matt Belsham with Alex Nowen on the chipping green yesterday, and Matt was just giving him a very slight adjustment to his right shoulder. That's all it was. He was there just holding his right shoulder, and that's all it was. It was a very tiny adjustment.
Yeah, I mean, we had this amazing piece which Nick Doherty did with Bryson DeChambeau and his coach. If you haven't had a chance to check that, you should have a look at it. It was very informative, gave you a great insight into how modern tour players use technology. And he was with his coach, Dana Dahlquist, just talking about like less than an inch of lateral motion. But that was the difference between Bryson being able to hit it where he wanted and having no clue where it was going. That's the margin.
Yeah. Thorbjørn Olesen there on the right-hand side in the all navy, a swing I love watching. Olesen, just,
yeah,
it's such a fantastic golf swing. That,
like a little rocket, isn't he? He's like one of those cage fighters. He's all muscle and sinew and fight.
That's Tony
Finau. I think that is that his training club? Let's have a look.
Oh, you talked about this. It looks like I think it's the green grip. I think you're right.
So, yeah, it is interesting just for him to make sure he keeps those hands ahead, doesn't get too scoopy through the ball.
Level par round for Tony Finau today.
Very strong.
He will be so happy with that.
Yeah, level par, you come in, you're in 13th position. You're absolutely pole position.
Yeah.
So for Finau, who's been and come back in, and now back on the range, there's his card. Very, very clean. Look at that. No surprise make a bogey on 11. No surprise make a bogey on 17. But how nice to make a birdie on the postage stamp. People have got a huge round of applause for that.
These guys who have gone out early today and posted something level par or better, looking at the weather tomorrow, they'll be out later tomorrow. 20 degrees and sunshine tomorrow. That is absolutely going to be perfect for them with, okay, the wind's going to be about 15, 18 mile an hour, but kind of conditions. So we talk about the right side of the draw.
Yeah.
If you got a good round in this morning, you're laughing tomorrow.
Yeah, could easily
and for the weekend.
It's been an unusual year of weather, though. I mean, do you remember when we did the verdict show at in Liverpool there at Hoylake? I mean, it was sort of like the end of the world, and it feels as though it's been raining ever since then.
I'm still drying out after that.
Yeah,
after that
really
Sunday, that's one of the most bizarre evenings I've had, but one of the most fun.
It was,
I would say it was so much fun.
It was all. The stage was collapsing around us in the wind, and all sorts of.
It was.
All sorts of things going on. So Tony Finau just decompressing after a very, very good day in the office.
Just light showers at the moment. Not really many umbrellas up. There's Liam James there.
Yeah.
Who is, talk about Matt Belsham being busy. Liam James has a big stable of players. Right. I think he's just helping Olesen there.
Oh, yeah, I think that's right. Thorbjørn, yeah. So, Tony. He just looks chilled, Tony, doesn't he?
Oh, so chilled, yeah.
You know, probably the fastest hands in the game. Look at that big interlocking grip there.
He's got huge hands, Tony Finau.
And they hang down by his knees.
Now this, I don't think anyone has hands as low as Finau. Simon, why are they so low? They are by his knees.
Because they're about 9 feet long. There, so Tony working definitely on a wrist position, so really trying to maybe feel like that left wrist gets into kind of like a neutral position first. Almost like presetting his impact position in his backswing and then just trying to rotate his body. So looking for almost like speed management. He's so fast, he's almost got to manage speed.
I think he'll be looking to get back on Keegan's Ryder Cup team, Tony Finau.
Oh, 100%. He's easily in the top 24, I mean, top 12 and best American players. So, Liam just working with Torbjorn. Have a look at this. So, don't know if the microphone's picked up that, but you know what? I can announce to you live from Royal Troon, the big cat is Moisin. Tiger birdies 3.
Just 2 off the lead.
With a little cheeky putt from the back of the green. So half of Scotland is following him.
There's a massive group following the Tiger Woods 3-ball.
I mean, I think Justin Thomas being 3 under and Tiger going out there and thinking, you know what?
I'm not letting it.
What's up with that? I'm not having it. I'm not having
Who
him.
does he think he is?
Yeah, I'm not having that. So, look at the squat. So, just watch. So, a lot of squat there from Finau, and then he just stands up through the ball. So, boom, and stands up. And look at the way he's holding that face. So, the toe really sort of held behind the heel. Doesn't want to feel any kind of face rotation there. With the amount of speed that he's got, that would be fatal. He'd lose control of the shot. So, let's have a look. Let's take Tony's wedge shot and just pop it over onto the 8th hole, the postage stamp. He did make a birdie here in regulation play this morning. Just a little punch shot. Does it carry? Oh. Throwing darts,
yeah.
Tony Finau. So that is the 8th hole. Just needs a little clip, doesn't it? I mean, that's not even, his hands don't even go past his shoulders there.
This is not a full wedge.
No,
this is just a flick.
This is just a nudge.
That was a bit
little
more
longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, coffin bunker. Never to be seen again. He'd probably be the only person who can actually see out of there. It's deeper than it was.
Yeah,
you agree with that?
Absolutely.
It's been.
Yeah.
The bottom's been adjusted.
Absolutely.
Here we go. Catch some North Sea oil coming up through the base of that.
And you know what? Finau, now that he's level par on the range, he must want this weather to get really bad now. He's just a little prayer.
Oh, there's no shame at all in wishing your fellow competitors who are out on the golf course the worst of afternoons. That is considered absolutely, that's totally allowable. So, just fascinating to watch. Think about the amount of time that the guy has been working today. So he would have been up early and in the gym. He would have been stretched out, gone for breakfast. Then he would have had just a little bit of a relax. He came to hit balls. He's played 18 holes. He's come straight back out after lunch to work on his game. It's all day long.
Yeah, it is. It is all day long.
So we have been bringing to you all of the live ball data. Now that data has been captured by Top Tracer technology, and earlier in the week Peter Finch went to go and find out more about it.
So we're here on the range at the Open with Oscar from Top Tracer, and we just wanted to talk a little bit about what Top Tracer is and exactly how it's enhancing everyone's perspective of the Open. So I think, first of all, could you just give an overview about what Top Tracer actually is?
For sure, yeah. So Top Tracer started as our founder, Daniel Forsgren. He wanted to revolutionize the way you watch golf on TV. It didn't make sense that he didn't catch the ball in the air. So there came the famous trace, right? The line that's now ubiquitous in every broadcast everywhere. So that's how it all started. Our tech, I think it is probably at its best display at the Open, at a links course, where the weather is really affecting shots, hitting it low, hitting it high, curving it. Like, you can really show that trajectory.
As the players are here on the range and they're striping their shots away into the distance, how does the Top Tracer technology actually see the ball, track the ball?
It's pretty cool, right? There's no tech really out here. If we look behind us here, we have cameras set up here, and these are our state-of-the-art cameras. You can view these as like expert eyes, and they watch the ball flight. 2 cameras watching the same object, following the full ball flight, and that's how we produce the traces on the screen.
So is it magic?
Kind of is, right?
I think this is probably one of the best things about the range as well, because obviously people in the grandstand, they're watching the shots.
Yeah.
But if you want to understand what the ball flight is doing and what those numbers mean, that's where they can see it pretty much instantly.
For sure. From this iPad that Stu has here, he can literally pick any player here, put them up on the screen. This is the technology that we have at our 1,000+ Top Tracer ranges, same thing that we give the players here. But what people watching this are maybe more familiar with when it comes to Top Tracer is our broadcast technology. So we might just pop over if you're keen to have a look in the TV compound, because that's where some real broadcast magic happens.
Absolutely.
Let's go. So this is our humble abode.
Here.
Welcome into the Oscar.
Thank you. Wow. Oh, wow. Okay. So my intrusive thoughts are really winning. Why does I press that?
You want to do that?
What would happen?
Please don't.
I just don't understand why. I'm not usually let near things like this. Can you explain why there are 5,000 computers in here?
This is the place that makes the Open look as great as it does on TV, right?
Right. Okay.
These 2 racks here, that's what does all the broadcast work for Top Tracers. So these guys do the heavy lifting from everything that is captured by our cameras out on the course, relayed back here, and then fed out to all the broadcasts all over the world. This is where the broadcast magic really happens.
This is incredible. I genuinely didn't know this was like what it was like behind the scenes.
So all of my colleagues right here and the crew from MSC Systems, they're looking at the screens, making sure that they annotate every player.
So have you got traces on every tee?
We do, yeah. So every tee this here is covered. And then we have 2 roving systems that are going around and capturing shots from the fairway.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pete. Thanks
really
for the
interesting.
interest.
And any Top Tracer you see around the course this week, it's coming from here.
Well, it wouldn't be an Open Championship to not catch up with these 2 legends. Brian O'Driscoll, Tim Heman. We're in the HSBC Golf Zone, and we've got a simulator with the postage stamp. It doesn't get much better. Boys, how much are you enjoying another Open Championship?
It's always good being back here, and Troon is fantastic. I was lucky enough to play here about 6 weeks ago, and it was the 5th of June, and it was biblical weather. So I get a sense as to what those pros are experiencing out there, but it's fabulous. The swing zone here with HSBC, giving the next generation the opportunity to have a go at the postage stamp or a long drive or up their putting game, and they certainly will want to turn away. And Tim's standing over 2-footers. They're not going to learn a whole lot there, but it's always great to be back here.
Not very nice. Now, I understand that you've had a few challenges throughout the day, and you're currently 1 up in all the challenges. So you can start this one, and Tim will chat while he lines us up. He's got 3 chances.
It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And
that's right.
Bod has always been pretty quick out the blocks, but lacks a little bit of stamina.
Yeah. There he is.
Short game.
And Tim, you've come hot off the press from Wimbledon, a busy couple of weeks for you.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, we benefited from a roof I've been trying to say to a few people here at the RNA, maybe build a roof, but well,
you've got to be in front of the track man here. Come on, you guys have been hanging out here all day. You should be.
Bod's just coming from lunch.
Yeah.
Just coming from lunch. Bod may have had a couple of whiskies, but
it's an illegal practice swing. But
ball moved before he hit it.
Here we go.
Wait, let's have a shout.
That,
4 left.
It looks like the coffin.
4 left.
Is that in the coffin bunker? Yeah. Well, the crowd's into you. Crowd's into you here, mate.
31 for 8. Not bad, Bod. A little bit right. Wind off the right, I think.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Looks glorious on here as well, let alone in real life.
Oh, God. It's just...
That could be the same result, Brian.
When there were no cameras around this morning, Bod was in fine form, was sort of spinning it in from the right, and now there's a camera on him. He's
trying to take momentum off the Irish rugby team from the weekend.
Yeah, there we go.
Come on, just hit the dance floor. Oh, he's taking his time on this one.
Outright. Oh, it's a bit chunky.
Yeah, this could be it.
Oh, jeepers.
Sit. Sit now, kick right.
Oh,
yeah.
Look at that.
And that's fine.
Look at that. Well,
defendable?
What was it? I think so.
Surely you can get in.
21 for 3.
Okay, 21-3. You can do that, Tim. Bod, get over here. Big day, obviously.
He's a very, very good golfer. He should get inside 21 feet.
He should. But, you know, scoreboard pressure runs on the board.
+1. Guess first one's usually a bit chunky. It was a bit thinny.
Oh, looks great. Looks like he's going to silence your ball. Oh, the wind's hit it. Ah.
What, you played well?
No, he's sitting there sledging.
That's the advantage of going second. You get to sense what that wind is like.
Yeah, well, this is going to square your competition up, isn't it?
How much you're going to need? Yeah, 7 feet. Okay, can you get inside it?
And Brian, watching these pro golfers out here at the Open, how much do you enjoy seeing, I guess, another sport at such a high level after a big rugby career?
I think you can only really get a full appreciation for how good they are when you're in close proximity. When we were here 5 or 6 weeks ago, Tom Watson gave us a clinic, and even, I think it's the late 60s, early 70s nearly, just even his touch still around, you know, fried egg, you know, bunker shots, just the small little nuances around how he did certain lies. Just they're on a completely different level. Congratulations, well done.
Well done, Tim.
3-all. I think we're level again.
I've done some big media interviews, but this one feels like the biggest after that victory. You must be relieved.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't disagree with you. I think long drive now, Bod. Are you feeling?
Now that the back is warmed up, I'm ready for it. Yeah, because it was a bit stiff after.
Yeah. Well, while you guys do that and go settle the scores, we're going to go back to live on the range. But boys, thank you very much for joining us in the HSBC Golf Zone. It's been a pleasure as per.
See you next year.
Enjoy the Open.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Follow the 152nd Open in unrivaled detail on the Open.com and the Open app. Go behind the scenes with Live at the Range in partnership with HSBC from Monday to Friday of Open Week. Track every shot hit at the championship and get real-time statistics with ShotView, powered by NTT Data. Get minute-by-minute coverage and expert analysis on the go with the Open Radio. Follow featured groups in partnership with Rolex throughout each day of the championship, and soak up all the action at the stunning fifth hole and the iconic postage stamp with the Par 3 channel. All streams live on RNA TV and the Open app, with a host of other content across the Open's social channels. Get closer to the Open wherever you are.
Great to see Brian O'Driscoll and Tim Henman. Now, I can tell you that all day long they are taking young kids, showing them how to do it. They are two great ambassadors and, well, came from different sports, but they love the golf. Henman, very I should say gobby, isn't he? Very, very gobby.
He plays off like 2, doesn't he, Tim?
You know what? I love him, but if you go and play golf with him, you need to have those noise cancelling headphones. That is absolutely crucial. So, charming man you need noise cancelling headphones. Now, a man who has been and gone and come back, Bryson DeChambeau, he is +5, and I should say unimpressed with his day's work.
Out in 42. But you know what's impressive? He came back in 34. He came back under par on the back 9.
Yeah,
he had an eagle on 16.
Yeah, eagle 16. He finished 3-3-4. That'll be useful. So he was working hard, just trying to get the right pattern of shots.
This will be fascinating. I'm assuming that's Dana there in the hood. I'd be fascinated to know what they're talking about here and what Bryson said went wrong in the round.
So the mistake is too much drift to the right and then not enough a return. So what he's trying to do, let's suppose he's starting level in address. He's trying to rise in the backswing, not drift in the backswing. So rise, stay centered and rise. So from the high right side, he can push down onto the left side and then come post around the corner. So he's just trying to find a sequence. And he's drawing it. So, I mean, that's his good shot. So you would think this isn't that far off. Now, I know he likes that. So if he can draw it that amount, that he feels as though he's got the sequence in the right space and he can deliver it. So
there's a lot of talking here from Bryson to Dana. There's a lot of chat. You can see he's not happy.
No, he'd be disappointed with that. A difficult thing for Dana, just to sort of like calm him down and make sure he doesn't go off track and change the plan in his frustration. So
it's like Bryson can't work out I'm guessing here, just looking at his facial expression, he can't work out why it went wrong today.
No, I believe that is exactly right, Josh. It's just a case of sort of like, how was it possible that I didn't execute today? You know, where have I missed it? Like, so they're looking probably at some notes there, looking also. I think he's going to like this. This is the shot he's trying to hit. So how can, if I do it here, I can't do it out there? There we go.
Oh, it's either a double-decker or a boost.
Scooby snack. That's a Scooby snack. I tell you what,
this is good chat. Americans having chocolate from here.
No, you know what it is? That they like the chocolate tastes much better.
It does, of course it does.
Yeah.
Have you had Hershey's before?
I can't possibly comment.
I have. But I know Americans love double-deckers, by the way. The chocolate bar, not the bus.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I can tell you, the big Scooby snack fan is the Snickers bar.
Ugh.
The Snickers bar.
It's always a top 3 for me.
Here we go. So,
see, there we go. That's the one.
Yeah, he likes that. Yeah, and does that come back? Yeah, I think he's
Yeah.
trying to close it down. So if he can start it right and kind of get his, like if you imagine there's a hula hoop around you and you're trying to get your hula hoop to start on your start line, he wants his start line to start a little right so he feels like he can draw it. And that's his happy place. There's a lot of chat, a lot of young fans behind him.
He keeps looking down at his GC quad there.
So I think Sir Nick Faldo must be nearby because I hear someone singing happy birthday.
Ah, it is his birthday. Yes, correct.
Sir Nick Faldo, happy birthday,
Correct.
wherever you are. We shall have to see.
This is really fascinating to see someone who works out everything so meticulously, not knowing why it went wrong.
No, but I mean, that is the frustration of the game, isn't it? If you remember last year, we were at Hoylake. I mean, the last guy on the range throwing his drivers down the range in frustration. was Bryson DeChambeau.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's here till dark. At 10
no,
o'clock.
he can hit some balls. You've got to be able to manage his enthusiasm or his frustration to get it right. What I'm saying is,
he's talking about the compression there. He's saying you need the compression to change, is what he just said. And my lip reading's not great, but that's what he just said.
Yeah.
So do you think he think there's something wrong with the club? The clubs, do you think?
no, he likes that. I'm telling you, that's very close to the shot he's trying to get. What he's trying to get is the right spin, right? He's having a problem that he's getting too much spin, and therefore his shots are stalling. So,
do you think it's anything to do with the ball being wet at all?
Yeah,
the
possibly,
water between the ball and the club face?
You can see here, you know, we've got the numbers up there. That's brought to us by Rolex, and you can just see.
If there's not enough time on contact, it would then skip and keep back spinning like it would on a marble tabletop. If I was to spin something backwards, I was going to get much friction. Yeah, watch. They still have backspin? See that? You see that thread? It still continues that backspin, but it's not under contact for enough time. We go this, and then it stops. And so it's the amount of time on the face that changes all the tricks that work.
Simon, what do you think he's trying to explain there?
Is it that it's too fast on the face, or he's not squaring it? Let's see.
I think you're right. I think he's talking about the spin here.
Yeah, I met him during the warm-up here, and what he's trying to get is the right attack angle, the right strike to drop the spin. I think it's when he's. That's good.
Perfect.
You see how that's like a rainbow flight there. So that's a lower spin. That'll be longer.
He's saying there's too much spin.
Yeah. I mean, there's the ball manufacturer, so he's just thinking about, you know, in this weather, is this ball reacting how I think it's going to react, and is there a ball which would react better? So he's on a left dash. His ball is the hardest of the balls. So. So the left dash Titleist, I think, is the ball that he used to win the US Open. Then I can't see what's in those packs.
It's okay, so watch this. Get a left dash. Get a left dash right now. Yeah, that's better. No, watch this. Left dash.
This is fascinating to listen to, for me.
Yeah.
Because it looks like, as you said to us, watching these ball flights, they look perfect for me, knowing Bryson's game.
I think he likes those ball flights, so it is interesting. There is something definitely in which ball is going to give him the thing that he wants. I don't know if we can. So we don't have amazing audio, but he's basically got he's playing a Titleist golf ball. That's his. That he believes gives him the best control, gets him the best performance, and he's just trying to get the spin rates correct. So maybe he's looking for something which is unique to these conditions. That's a part of the adjustment of coming from the US Tour to play here. Maybe when he's hitting the ball down, he's maybe a little bit steeper, maybe hitting a little bit flatter, or hitting it lower in the face if he tees it down and getting too much spin.
I'm not sure there's much.
Dana later and just clarify that.
Well, I was going to say there's not much Dana can do here. I don't think, as a coach.
I don't think this is a Dana thing.
No,
I think
it's
this
not.
is a manufacturer's thing. I think Dana's. I think so. That's. I don't know which ball that is, but you can see he's trying to figure out exactly how high up the face he should be hitting that particular ball to get the spin that he wants. So fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
Here
It
we
really
are
is.
after day one.
Yeah.
A question mark on the equipment. What can I do to optimize? But I mean, that's what's amazing when you have the support of a manufacturer like that, who are like global experts, and they'll have the answer. I don't think he's that dissatisfied with that. I just think he's trying to sort of make a point. So my understanding is he is playing a ball which is called the left dash, for everyone, left dash. Hardest ball.
And he has a big team with him as well, Bryson. Look, there's six people there, including Dana, in Team Bryson. A few of them might be heading off.
So I mean, this ball is high launch, low spin. It's a customization, very similar to the Pro V1X. Firm and lower spin. So you would think that's the matchup. So we're kind of guessing, but you would think he's exactly the profile for that ball. That is a tour ball that kind of came out of a testing that was so popular that they manufactured it, and now, you know, left. It's the left dash ball. He wants it to launch high, he wants it to spin low. That's going to give him the biggest carry. Fascinating to see after day one of the biggest event in the world, just working with his manufacturer to optimize, always looking for there. So
They've gone, interesting, he's gone to get more balls there. No, we don't know which ones they are.
New balls.
He might need 3 or 4 buckets.
Here we go. Bryson DeChambeau. Amazing. Endless. In pursuit of the next upgrade. Speaking of upgrades, where could we find our buddy George Harper Jr.? Let's see where he is.
Okay, on me? Yeah. Welcome in, guys. This is the show you've all been waiting for. George Harper Jr. in the gym. Doesn't get much bigger and better than that. But look, let's be honest, the facilities here at the Open are simply incredible. The players have their own gym facility, so it's always nice to pop in and see all the technology and see what's available for the best in the world, because they have to keep fit, they have to keep flexible for every round of golf. You'll see a lot of players come in here after their rounds. You've got all your dumbbells, everything you need, your weights, your yoga mats, some bench pressing there, some seriously big bits of timber. That's too big for me, 100%. But look at this, state-of-the-art facility, all on their doorstep. It's all about trying to help these players perform to the best of their ability, so no stone is unturned. When we go into the Players' Lounge later, you'll see all the food and dietary requirements. It's all spot on, every every inch, every little bit is there. Sanjay's here joining us. Look at all the gear they've got. Hey mate, how are you? Looking strong, looking real strong. Stuart Sink coming in for a little stretch. Looking good. And now this is post round as good as it gets. Shuby. Oh, this looks like more like me rather than that end of the gym, doesn't it?
You look like in movies as well.
Mate, what are you up to here? Run us through your post round sort of process.
I need more relaxing today compared to normal days.
Yeah.
It was just really tough out there and still is quite tough out there. So these are these compression pants. I actually don't use them. My caddy Lyle uses them more often. You can see him sleeping on the side.
He's having a great time.
And they just kind of compress, as the name suggests. It just compresses the legs, gets in more blood flow. And yeah, I'll go see my physio after this. So it's all relaxed.
I guess everyone talks about how difficult the links conditions are, but it's also difficult on the body, isn't it? And the mindset. It's a big, long, windy, tough week at the Open, isn't it?
It is. I guess that's part of the challenge when you're playing the Open, especially out of all the majors. You got to be prepared. You have to layer up. Obviously, have all your energy for 18 holes, and the wind and the cold doesn't help either. So you can see all of these guys coming in, working out, and relaxing and getting their energy for the next few days. And I'm trying to do the same. I'm not working as much as these guys, but this helps.
Nice. Well, I'm going to let you relax because I think I might fall asleep with you if I stay down for too long. Oh, geez, the old bones. But let's go to the front here and see these young gentlemen who have been looking after the weights room so well.
How are you going?
Luke, how are you, mate?
I'm very well, thank you, sir.
What's it like sitting here helping the best in the business?
Pretty surreal, to be honest with you. I think both of us will geek out on training stuff anyway, and seeing the best in the world has been unbelievable.
Yeah, what's so important about, I guess, having these facilities for these guys and making sure it's all picture perfect, bang on?
I think just keeping the space clear, and then any help that these guys need technically. So many of them are well versed in this area anyway, so it's quite an easy job, to be honest with you.
Very nice. Well, it's an easy job for them. It's an easy job for you, but it's intimidating for me. This is amazing to be able to come back and show you guys all of this. But for now, we're going to pop back out. It's too much time in the gym for my liking, so let's go check out somewhere else behind the scenes. Boys, thanks for looking after us. You can probably crank that music back up and we'll get the blood pumping.
Yes.
Amazing scenes in days gone past. It used to be a gym and tonic, and now you pump it in the weight room. Bananas, water, hydration, things have changed. Josh Outman.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a regular now at the gym as well. Not quite like these guys. These guys are super impressive. It's a different game these days, as you know, Simon, compared to the early 90s, mid-90s. When you were coaching the likes of Faldo. It's a different sport now.
Yeah, it is. Faldo was fit, though. I got to say, he had the same fitness as, I think I'm going to say it was an Olympic rower. He had the same fitness as an Olympic rower. He really was amazing. So, yeah, Norman was fit. Gary Player was the poster boy for fitness. But Tiger Woods changed the game. He demanded, if you stepped on the tee with him, that you rose to the occasion. So it's fascinating to see how day one has evolved. And I can tell you from the golf course, courses winning, the conditions have definitely impacted the scoring. 3 under par, Justin Thomas still leading.
That'll be tough. That'll be tough to beat. That'll be tough to beat.
So not too far away from here was the final round at the Junior Open, and that took place at Kilmarnock Barassi. I can tell you, 15-year-old world number 7 Hyo Song Lee won the girls competition, whilst fellow Korean Seo-hyung Ahn was victorious in the boys championships. Let's see some of the action.
Come on, everybody, don't stop, don't quit. Do it like this. Do it like this. Do it like this. like this. Do it like this. Do it like this.
From Korea, Song Yeon-an and Hyu Song Lee. Thank you for everything.
Great scenes, RNA organising another amazing competition. We will no doubt see some of those players teed up in the future at the Open and the AIG Women's Open. Congratulations to those two winners.
I'm staying not far from Barassi, and the first time I was here this week, I went, oh, that looks good. And I asked a few people about it, and they said it is a fantastic course.
Amazing golf course. Oh, there's so many of them. So the saga, trials and
We're still going. We're still going.
Bryson DeChambeau has now got, he's got 5 people there to question, challenge, examine.
Dana's not one of them. Is Dana behind? Oh, yeah, sorry. Oh, someone else is coming in now.
6th, and there's the 7th.
Yeah. No, not even that. I want just the regular blacks. Regular. What do you do?
No, you guys are fired. Get me something different. So Bryson just
normal, like, black one, right? That's usually a lower spinning golf ball, right? Than the red. Yeah.
So this is the regular Pro V, which is lower spinning compared to the Pro V1X.
Those black. It was this the one range ball. So about 17. Hold on. Check this out. This is a red. Yeah. But it's supposed to be a spinning golf ball,
2017 ball being introduced here. Bryson looking for spin.
I'm not quite sure what he's trying to tell the guy here. Is he saying that he doesn't think the range balls are the correct ones?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I think he's been playing the left dash, which is the high launch, low spin, and I don't know if he thinks that that is the best combination in these conditions. We have to just check it. Or he's finding that a certain ball isn't spinning compared to what he thinks it should be spinning, and he's just trying to figure out if it's him or if he's misunderstanding something, or if he's taken out to the golf course the best bit of kit that he possibly could. So he's hitting it great. He's hitting baby draws all day long. So he's not looking at the ball, he's looking at the spin, and he's looking at that saying, why am I getting so much spin?
That group's growing around Bryson.
Certainly a fascinating watch. So Bryson really questioning the Titleist ball manufacturers for getting exactly the right bit of kit. Fascinating to see the interaction between the player, the technology, and the manufacturer. Amazing. Nevertheless, somewhere down there, the golden girl of the range, Di Stewart.
That is so kind of you. Thank you, Simon. We're doing a little bit of jumping up and down to keep warm. Pete's been doing a dance. Yeah, he's got rhythm, I have to say. He has got rhythm.
Zero rhythm right now.
But just to highlight that there are only 11 players under par, Pete. It really shows how tough it's been today. And so many good players we've just been speaking about are further down the leaderboard, the likes of Tommy Fleetwood, Rory McIlroy, 5 over par. Bryson DeChambeau is behind us, and he struggled with dropping shots, didn't he?
Yeah, I think like today, the first day, you're never going to win a tournament on the first day, but you can certainly put yourself out of it. So what you're really seeing is, I mean, 3 under, 2 under, where the leaders are. That's a great score today, but a lot of big names like Bryson, they struggled. You know, they just not around par. But hopefully it will bounce itself out a little bit, but another bad round tomorrow, obviously they're going to be missing the cut, and there's going to be probably quite a few big names that don't make it to the weekend if these conditions continue.
Yeah, oh gosh, that wind when it blows across the driving range, it's freezing and it's brutal. The leaderboard as it stands right now, Justin Thomas at the top. What an incredible round, 68 from JT, and Alex Noren, Justin Rose, we spoke to him actually a few minutes ago. He's off at about 12 o'clock tomorrow, but 11 players under par really highlights everything about Royal Troon and how difficult it is with these conditions. Who stands out to you there? Who are you happy to see on that first page?
I think Sepp Straka. I mean, he's a great ball striker, but he is a man built for these conditions. Like, he's a unit. Like, he's not going to get blown off the ball, is he? So I think the windier it is for him, the better.
Yeah, we spoke to him a few days ago. He was in great spirits, striking it brilliantly on the range. He's got the back nine to come. Moving further down the leaderboard, if we can take a look at some of the scores further down. Level par for all these guys, and again to highlight, they'll be happy if they finish that way.
If you finish anywhere from level to, I think, about 3 over today,
yeah,
absolutely delighted with that. That is a really, really good score. It's kind of hard to explain the conditions out here and how tough it feels. Like, these guys around level are going to be ecstatic.
Oh, well, don't forget to join the conversation. Hashtag the open range. There's Jordan Spieth, 1 under through 3 holes. Very early stage. Still so many players to go out and play golf. Pete, thanks for today. We're back at 7:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. From all of us from Live at the Range, see you bright and early.